And tonight, 15 drivers have an opportunity to gain that one last spot in the playoffs. Time now for tonight's starting grid, brought to you by Coke Zero Sugar. Up front, it's supposed to be Kyle Larson and William Byron, but because of tech inspection failures, the 5 will have to start at the rear of the field. Right below those, Hamlin and Busch, two guys who definitely can win here at the racetrack tonight.
Kevin Harvick, row 6, amazingly still winless so far this season. He's in the playoffs, looking for a little momentum to carry him into those playoffs, though. Chase Briscoe back in row 8, a rookie. I think he could be one of those sleepers we're talking about. Win and advance.
We saw in row 9 also Michael McDowell. Last time they raced on the high banks here, he won the Daytona 500 earlier this year.
Yeah, row 14, Dylan and Haley. Haley won the Xfinity race earlier today, has a chance to sweep the week. Ross Chastain will start in the row behind them. You see some other drivers to the rear. Alfredo, Corey LaJoie, Joey Gaze, and Gralla. Alfredo actually will have to do a pass-through under green for his penalty as well, so big trouble for the 38.
One of the things I love about NASCAR is we actually can dial up the drivers during these pace laps, and we're going to do that with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Jr., can you get him on the radio?
Hey, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., this is the boys in the booth. You got us? I think Ricky's actually trying to index his wheel here. We'll give him a second. Hey, Ricky, this is the boys in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you up there.
All right, man. You're one of the cars in this field that if you win this race, you and your team get to continue on and run for this championship in the playoffs. What's the strategy tonight?
Well, I mean, obviously for that to be done, we got to make it to the end of this race. So got caught in a wreck here this race last year, and I was bummed out sitting there watching the end of it, knowing that we really couldn't do anything for ourselves. So we got to get to the end, got to get our Funfetti Camaro, those last 5 laps to really be able to make a good charge at the end. I know my boys brought me a really, really good race car. No question about that. We've won here before. We know how to get it done. Just got to put all the cars together.
How do you think the car is going to handle tonight in the temperatures?
Yeah, I think, we have an idea of, how it's all going to play out, but once they drop the green flag here, we'll really find out exactly, how the cars are going to handle with, the less horsepower. And, I know we're going to be slower, so kind of interesting to see how much bump drafting we're going to be able to do, how big the runs are going to be. I think we're all going to be trying to learn as much as we can throughout this race and prepare ourselves for the end.
All right, bud, we know you can win here. Put on a show. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Ricky's carrying one of the onboard cameras here. He's got that high reverse and also a side panner, brought to you by Funfetti.
And that's a great vantage point that we get to see these drivers. We know that there's so much pressure on these drivers every single race, but Steve, now we can put some graphics to it and some data as well.
Yeah, I couldn't be more excited. Tonight we're going to bring you live biometric information for a couple of these drivers right here. It's powered by Whoop. That is a Whoop wearable band. It basically gives you your information. Denny Hamlin has agreed to wear one, as well as Daniel Suarez. This band will give us live heart rate. It'll also calculate their caloric burn, basically how many calories they're burning throughout the day. And then the coolest thing, I think, is the strain, basically 0 to 21. And it'll start 2, 3, 4, but we'll check in all night long to see how the strain goes up. You see Denny Hamlin right here, about 70 beats per minute currently. I think it's fascinating information. And to give you a better idea kind of what that looks like for other athletes, we looked at some other comparisons. We went through some other sports, something that maybe you at home have done or have friends that have done to give you an idea. Let's talk about basketball. Rick, a little 2-hour pickup basketball game, around about 140 heart rate, burn 1,200 calories. That median strain, that strain I talked about 16 on the scale. If you're a runner, you go out and run you a 10K, about 150 heart rate, you're in way better shape than me. I don't think I can make a 10K at 150. Calories, about 700, and that median strain, right like I said, about 15. But you're the peak of the peak. That triathlon, that Ironman, about 140 heart rate. Look at that, 5,800 calories. That median strain, almost off the chart. Remember, it maxes at 21. This is at 20. So we're going to check in all night long with both Denny and Suarez. I want to thank Denny Hamlin and Daniel Suarez and our friends at Whoop for giving this. This is going to give the viewer at home just a great I think, idea and respect for these athletes behind the wheel.
One of our best athletes as part of our team is Parker Kligerman with more stories.
Right, Rick. I think I'm an athlete. I guess as we've seen these drivers are. We're going to get a great view here from Austin Dillon, the Coca-Cola Zero Sugar on board here. Remember, he comes in this race 25 points below the cut line, but he told me before this he has a very simple strategy. He's going to go win both stages and win the race. If he does that, I think he gets in the playoffs, Dave. Marty.
Another Coke Zero Sugar on board is with Ryan Newman, who has won here at Daytona before. And when I talked to Ryan before the race, he said at Roush Fenway Racing, this is by far our best discipline. Super speedways. I know we can run in the top 10, and that's where I want to be. 10 to go in the top 10 with a shot to win this race. If he does it, Dave, it'll put him in the playoffs.
Marty, Daytona is NASCAR history, and Bubba Wallace has come close to winning here. If he does it today, it will be his first win, and it will launch him into the playoffs. And you can thank the folks at Columbia for taking you along for the ride, Parker.
And thank you to Toyota for taking us on board here with Denny Hamlin, who is battling against Kyle Larson for the regular season points championship. I spoke to his crew chief, Chris Gabehart, and said, what is the strategy? He said, we need a 50-plus point day. That means that they must go out there and find a way to win some stages. If there's anyone that can get it done, it's Denny Hamlin, who's been so good on the super speedways as of late.
Thank you, Parker. And Steve, when we look at this Coke Zero Sugar 400, it's a lot more than just 400 miles.
It is. It's 400 miles. It's the summer race. It's 160 laps, 50 laps for both stage 1 and stage 2. The final stage, 60 laps. That fuel window, though, only at 40 to 44 laps. So we're going to see a pit stop in every stage. NASCAR's let us know we should have a comp yellow on or around lap 20 in this first stage, just with no practice.
Okay. We go back in time just a little bit as far as when Joey Logano got upside down here at this track, and because of what took place here, things have changed with these cars.
Yeah, so the 22 here flipping over. NASCAR's made some adjustments to the race cars. We're going to have a little less horsepower. They've also made some adjustments to the rear spoiler, took a wicker off so there's less drag. Cars will be a little bit slower. They're going to react differently to each other in the pack, and I think it's important for these guys to learn what they can about how these cars draft in this first stage.
You can see the damage to that car. NASCAR just trying to slow the cars down, trying to keep the liftoff point lower so they do get turned around backwards, they won't get airborne. Just take a little bit of speed out, but it's a challenge for the drivers. No practice. Just drop the green and go see what you got.
Put it into perspective, one of those big jets, when you fly commercially, they take off at 170 miles an hour. These guys are going to go well over that tonight.
Yeah, put it in perspective slower. So, you know, from a football field a second to what, 99 yards a second? That's still a little fast for me.
Ready to get underway with the Coke Zero Sugar 400 from Daytona International Speedway. One spot left for the playoffs. Can someone win and get in? William Byron in the 24 won here a year ago. Denny Hamlin has been dominant at this racetrack. Hamlin in the 11 on the inside. He'll try to take the lead early, but here comes Byron back on the outside.
Stacked up 2 by 2, all lines pushing. A great push from the 18 and the 9. William Byron getting shoved out into the lead just momentarily.
They separated. Once they got side by side, that side draft actually separated those cars. They were pushing, and that just pulls them apart.
Outside line, very, very tight. Really, really close bumper to bumper. That should create a little bit more energy. That inside line, a little bit of a space between each car.
Now, what does William do right here? He was clear of Denny Hamlin, decided to stay in that top lane. Now he goes to the bottom. See if he can try to block both lanes here.
You see all those sparks right there, guys. There's nothing to be concerned about. Basically, these cars, the limit of rear travel is a track bar mount. All these crew chiefs taking full advantage of it. You expect to see them spark a little bit on low air pressure and new tires.
At full song, you're going to hear things like side drafting, bump drafting, getting runs. All of those things take place here at Daytona right now. There's a little bit of bump drafting happening up front between the 24 of William Byron, who's up front and leading, and the 11 of Denny Hamlin running in that second spot.
4-car breakaway right there, then side by side here between the 21 of Matt DiBenedetto and Kyle Busch. Matt with no help behind him. Kevin Harvick trying to close in on the back bumper of that Wood Brothers Ford. He's going to drive up in front of the 18 of Kyle Busch. He's going to get a great push down the back straightaway from the 18. What does he do with that? Mark Truex saw that and says, I'm going to go up here, see if he'll push me as well. That's going to send this 19 on a great little run. Look at Denny Hamlin, though, pushing the 24 far, far out in front.
Kevin Harvick on the bottom of the racetrack. Alex Bowman behind him. Got that inside line rolling. That inside line's been the way to go so far.
Chase Elliott in the 9, running in the 3rd position right now. The reigning Cup Series champion. Now he moves up to block in front of Kevin Harvick.
And Harvick made the move to get in front of Truex and
created a lot of momentum for that line. William Byron goes up there to block it. He's got his teammate who's going to assist him on the back straightaway. Down on the inside, Alex Bowman's moved in behind this 11 car from Denny Hamlin. Denny's hoping to get a little bit of help off the nose of that 48 car to stay up here in this fight, but he's losing positions down the back straightaway.
such an important part of the race. Drivers are learning what their cars will do, what they won't do. You heard every driver in interviews say they don't know what to expect with this package. This is a great opportunity. If you make a move, Junior, it doesn't work out, plenty of time to recover.
You saw Ross Chastain back there in that green car quite a ways back. Move up and bail on this inside line. Look, Kurt Busch does it as well. That's not good for Denny Hamlin and Alex Bowman. More guys giving up on this outside, on this inside line. There's a gap right there behind the one car. Denny's going into that gap. He saves a little face there.
Every car that gets in that outside line makes that inside line that much tougher. You just lose the draft. You do not have as many cars, not as much energy. Where you can make up time is right here in the corners, just a shorter way around the racetrack.
Check in with Denny Hamlin, you see right there, under 100 beats per minute, unbelievably calm behind the wheel. You see, you know, it's strained, only 4.0. We're going to continue to check in because his effort's going to continue to go up all night, but it amazes to me just how calm they stay at nearly 200 miles an hour.
That heart rate, 97, 96 for Denny Hamlin, right here in the thick of it, just inches away from Kurt Busch, just in front of him in the one. It was announced earlier, Kurt Busch will be driving for 2311 Racing. Yes, that's right. Denny Hamlin, who's pushing him right now, will be the team owner of that car that he will jump into next year. It will be the 45 that Kurt Busch will drive for that team.
So far, Alex Bowman's maintaining on that inside line. Look at that car moving forward down there. They're not going backwards. They're hanging in there, making that inside line work.
And that will attract someone from this top lane possibly to try to be the first car leading that inside line. Who's watching that mirror? Who's going to try to use this as an advantage to get to the lead?
Yeah, they'll jump down there on that inside line right in front of that 48. So just like this 12 car. Blaney says, I'll be the one.
All right, who's going to go with him? Somebody else trying to be the leader.
Look at Kevin Harvick. He looks like he's making a move as well to go down in front of Blaney.
Couple Fords, nose to tail now. The Mustangs trying to make that inside line go. They've got Chevrolets on the outside, but here comes Harvick making that low line work.
Really aggressive pushing there between the top three on the outside line. But that inside line, here it comes. Closing in side by side off turn 4 for the lead, Kevin Harvick.
Top 15 cars right now separated by less than a second.
That was impressive for that inside line. I thought the entire field was about to bail on it. They stayed committed to it.
Denny Hamlin in the middle lane. He's making that work.
2 and 3 wide from Daytona. Right now it's Kevin Harvick winless in 2021. He's up front of the pack, followed by William Byron.
Grab an ice cold Coke Zero Sugar and buckle up. You're watching the Coke Zero Sugar 400 on NBC.
NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. You can follow your favorite drivers with HD in-car cameras or select alternate camera angles if you want to see more action. Visit NASCAR.com/driver. You can download the NASCAR mobile app today. Up front, there you see him, Denny Hamlin, looking in the mirror, and a lot of times you will watch these drivers, especially when they're up front, they will be looking in the mirror probably 80 to 90% of the time, trying to make sure they're in front of whichever line is moving. Parker.
And he got that lead from William Byron just a couple laps ago as he goes up to block that top lane, led by William Byron. But William lost that lead because the team had come on the radio asking for a temp reading at the exact same time that Denny was able to get momentum at the top. He wasn't able to cover that. William came on the radio and said, we've got to time our temp readings, guys. You can't do that to me. Dave?
One of the decisions teams make are, do you race up front to begin the day, or do you kind of ride around in back? In the green, number 42 of Ross Chastain, his crew chief, Phil Surgeon. You see him on the top lane there. There it is. Phil told me, we're going to go to the front. We want cars to identify us as a car that is going to race for the win. Sometimes that means you'll get pushed to victory. Sometimes that means you can push another car to victory. But if they haven't seen you all day and you show up late in the race, that's not a good scenario. So Chastain started 27th. He's all the way up in the front mix.
Rick, back to what Parker was saying about the 24 and the questions about the temperatures. The speedways are the toughest to talk to your driver. I'm going to actually talk to my spotter on Channel 2 as the field is mostly 3 wide here and let him know that in the next lap or two, please ask him this. I wouldn't even dare get on the radio myself because other than right here in the tri-oval, I just don't know what's going on.
A little bit of debris on the 11 car as the 3 wide battling. Denny Hamlin's got to keep an eye to make sure that water does not get too hot. Going to be pretty safe out here in front, but if he gets back in the pack, that could become a problem.
Pretty impressive to see Ross Chastain form an outside line and bring that up toward the front. 24 Byron tries to go up there and take advantage of the momentum that they've created. And he's going to retake the lead. Denny Hamlin now kind of sitting by himself with not a lot of help. He fades back to the nose of the 23 car, Bubba Wallace. Here comes the 3 up the middle.
Well, Junior, I was going to say, we talk about all the different strategies. Right now, if I'm one of these crew chiefs with the car in the back, I'm loving our strategy. This is some crazy racing at the front.
Yeah, Ross Chastain in that 42 car on the outside. He finished 7th in the Daytona 500. He's run really well over the last couple months. That team continues to improve. He's going to be aggressive. A big push from Logano right there.
I talked to Brad Keselowski earlier today. I said, how comfortable are you? How confident are you as one of the best plate racers coming into this race? He said, not at all. My confidence is maybe as low as it's ever been. He said, all these drivers are going to drive like animals tonight out here. And take a look at this as it's 3 wide all the way back through the field. Marty.
Boy, it is dicey up front, Rick, and Steve mentioned it a moment ago. Those guys brave enough to go to the back, like Matt DiBenedetto. He came on the radio and said one word, nope. That racing up front a little too aggressive for him. He went to the back. He said, speed-wise, we're fine. Handling-wise, we're not ideal. Again, needing a win to make his way into the playoffs. He thought, as racy as it is on the top of your screen, that was too much for the 21.
And we're seeing on the bottom of the screen the 21 of Matt DiBenedetto falling back, listening to his radio.
I got enough of a feel starting off, to be honest with you. It's not worth the risk.
So he's basically saying he got enough of a feel. He understands how his car drives, what the race is going to run like. He doesn't feel it's risky or it's too risky to be up front there. He's back at 26 as the battle for the lead. You know, these runs, they keep coming, and you see cars move around. We saw in the Xfinity Series race, it only takes one poorly timed push or on the wrong side of the bumper, left or right, for cars to get turned around.
Earlier as the battle for the lead happening now.
Byron gets a great run on the 11, dives to the bottom and takes that lead away. Oh man, Chastain in the fence. He's getting, wow. Denny Hamlin giving him a push. Incredible that he saved that 42 car. That thing was all over the back straightaway. Then he's still pushing him right here in the corner.
Chastain could have easily turned left right there and driven underneath William Byron. Chose not to do it.
Here comes right to the quarter panel. My goodness, Chastain's waving. He's out. He's like, I'm tapping out.
I've had enough.
Somebody tag. Come in here and take over. This thing is no fun with that 11 car pushing me.
Hamlin up front. Remember, Hamlin is in a situation where if he wants to win the regular season championship, he has got to do something special tonight. He's got to go up there and try to win the stages, get those extra stage points, because he's trailing the 5 of Kyle Larson. As we look again, look at that.
So Ross bounces off the fence. Denny I don't think Denny really loved the fact that he dove up there and took that shot, took that chance, you know, to try to fit his car into such a small space this early. Here's the move. And Denny pushed him down the back.
You're clear, half in
Almost
front,
turned him into the
quarter in
outside
front.
wall. Still pushing him, still pushing him.
Still clear.
Hard pushes right here from Denny.
As we go back live, Austin Dillon has worked himself to the lead of this race.
Well, the 42's come to pit road. I believe he has a right side tire. Looks like a right rear tire flat, Dave.
Yep, they heard from Ross. He said, I believe the tires are down. They said, if you can limp it around to the competition caution, do it. But he said, no, I've got to come right now. So right side's only for the 42. They'll send him back out. You see the damage on the right side of that car.
And the unfortunate thing, they couldn't put fuel in because you're not allowed to put fuel in before the competition caution, right, Steve?
Correct. It's a penalty before. They don't want strategy. Guys jump into pit road beforehand. But as the 42 leaves pit road, the field in the middle of 3 and 4, it's going to be close. He'll exit without a problem, but you just question about the momentum these leaders are going to have and if they'll be able to get around him here in the final lap before the comp yellow. I think he'll be okay, but I always seem to misjudge the speed of these leaders and the amount of time it takes to get up to speed.
And NASCAR has told us that at around lap 20, which we're on lap 20 right now, the competition would come out, the competition caution. There's no practice, no qualifying that has taken place this weekend for the Cup drivers, and that is why there will be a competition caution here within the next lap.
The start of this race has been extremely aggressive. These guys are going at it. Ton of racing left to go, but all the pushing, all the shoving, blocking, all that going on. You just wonder how long they can do it before an accident happens.
Now it's Chase Elliott in the 9. With Austin Dillon in the 3 on the outside. Those two side by side for the lead as they come back to the stripe.
They put Denny in the middle as he fades back. Logano on the outside of the 19, headed for the lead.
And put Austin Dillon in the middle as well. And the first guy they put in the middle is coming to help him. Oh, there's the caution, competition caution.
Competition caution has come out.
That was a good break for the 9 car, Chase Elliott.
What a start already. The Coke Zero Sugar 400 from Daytona International Speedway. Sparks flying.
Pit stops happening at Daytona under the competition caution, and the work is already done for Joey Logano in the 22. Fuel only in that Ford. Parker?
And that seems to be for everyone. Same there for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who was third coming down pit road. We'll see where he comes out.
Boy, look at the traffic on pit road. Chase Elliott, fuel only. He does hold the lead coming down pit road with the lead. He leads, but you see fuel only for everybody, Rick.
There you see the results. The race off pit road brought to you by PNC Bank. We'll line them back up in the restart coming up next. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by New Coke Zero Sugar. Now even more delicious. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Visit GoCreditOne.com. Applebee's. Help us crush childhood cancer. And by Toyota. All right, Steve, sometimes things don't go the way they're supposed to when you come onto pit road.
Yeah, the one Kurt Busch was already towards the back of the pack coming in 27th, but with so many cars coming to pit road, you have to be very, very careful with traffic. So you see Kurt Busch right here. He's going to start moving to his left. Denny Hamlin pulls out. He checks up, and unfortunately, there goes his pit stall right next to the NBC box. So there's no way he could get left. So he pitted the second time around. No real penalty currently because he was always towards the back, but as this race wears on, and track position has been gained, you don't want to give it back in a manner like that. Dave.
Michael McDowell, the Daytona 500 winner, smoke pouring from that Ford Mustang. They're telling him right now it has blown up big time. He asked the spotter once he refired it, did he see any smoke? Too much, and the winner earlier this year in February right here will not win again tonight.
And the lights came back on the pace car. They're going to add a lap. They were getting ready to come to the green there, but because of Michael McDowell, they want to make sure that there's no fluid down on the racetrack.
Unfortunate situation for the driver of the 34. It's been a rough go for both the 34 and the 38. They had some inspection issues. The crew chief of each team was ejected. So, Marty, a rough race for a rough day for the 34 car.
Yeah, but they did win the Daytona 500, so in the playoffs starting next week. Chase Elliott, meanwhile, leading here at the comp caution. What does he think of the new package? Listen in.
Way different, like way different than in the past. I assume it's just the package. Super different. I mean, everybody's being super aggressive. You can really get to someone's bumper easy. It seems like
And Dale, we were commenting in one of the breaks earlier that the runs, they tried to slow down. They're still coming quick, so you got to be on your toes as a driver, but it's much different. These drivers, Chase is right, being very aggressive early in this race.
Yeah, I'm surprised by how racy the field is, how willing they are to run side by side, knowing there's a comp yellow, knowing there's stages. Seems like these guys are here to just go out there and have some fun and enjoy themselves. Like I said at the start of the show, man, the best way to try to win this race, I think, is to control it from the front.
You use the word fun. How about before the race when Ace Dillon, that's the son of Austin and Whitney, is in the car having a little fun, and watch the binky. It goes down. Dad doesn't notice it, so he grabs Ace and said, "Hey, Ace, time to get out." Ace is like, no, Dad, I got my binky down here. They can't find it. Well, let's get somebody to figure out where it is. Crew member gets in. No, I can't find it. Are we going to have a binky riding around with us? Nope. We check under the seat. That's where everybody checks for the binky. It was under the seat.
Good thing they found it, because what ends up under the seat normally ends up under the pedals. So, you know,
that would not be good.
You want to find it for this thing went green.
A new parent sterilizes that thing. After you have 3 or 4, you just give it to them here.
Field approaching the Geico restart zone. Back underway here in stage 1 from Daytona. Chase Elliott getting a little shove there from the 22 of Joey Logano.
All these drivers talked about learning. These race starts are a great opportunity to learn for what could be later in the race. New package, what am I going to have to do to keep the lead if we get a 2-lap shootout?
And outside lines hanging in there with Cole Custer leading it. The 3 of Austin Dillon with a great push on this outside here down the back straightaway. The inside is connected as well. They're going to push off into turn 3 and come back on that 41 car. Chase Elliott, Logano. Now Logano side drafts the 41. That's going to clear the 9. Here comes Ricky Stenhouse. He told us he's going to take it easy. Try to be around at the end. Here he is at the front of this race, racing hard with these guys. Can't help himself. The field's going to run this 9 down pretty quickly. Logano is going to stay committed to Chase. 41 back to the outside. The 3 still pushing really hard. The 11 to the middle. He puts the 3 to the outside. So Denny Hamlin makes a commitment there, but he doesn't have any help. Here comes his teammate, Kyle Busch.
It was 2 wide. It's 3 wide. Back behind the top 5. Austin trying to push the 41 of Cole Custer. 3 wide here as you see the 47, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. moved up on the inside, and take a look at that Whoop Live. Denny Hamlin's heart rate still under 90. My heart rate was 95 at the start of the race.
Well, I think that is a perfect example of what makes him so good at the speedways. You know, controlling that heart rate tells me he's very comfortable, very methodical what he's doing. This isn't a panic type driving situation. I mean, 90 beats per minute as he's going nearly 200 miles an hour, 2 wide on the, I'll call it the middle lane there.
Yeah, that was pretty busy. We saw much higher numbers in the Xfinity race from those guys. These are the veterans here in the Cup Series. And Denny is one of the best plate racers.
You mentioned one of the best. 2 of the last 5 races at Daytona, he has ended up in victory lane, Marty.
Well, look at Denny Hamlin and those guys hooked up there. And look at that outside line. You see Austin Dillon up there, Cole Custer as well. And we're seeing hints, Jeff, of the tandem package working. Guys getting together, just 2 cars kind of drafting out together, but then they'll get off of it. They'll do it for a little bit, like you see right there up front with Chase Elliott and Joey Logano, but then they'll back off of it. Jeff, you were one of the best tandem racers of all time. You made it work for you in the past. Are guys going to show their hand, and could that be a factor much later in the race?
I think they got to try different things to learn what it's going to take to work. The problem is you're going to overheat. If you're trying to push too far with this package, they don't have the big radiators like we used to have, Steve, that held so much water. So the problem is going to be how long can you push, and do they overheat? And they need to learn how to stay hooked up. We've seen a lot of times pushing, they get next to other cars and that separates them. They got to learn that the leader has got to drag their brake in that situation, and that will keep them hooked up.
Yeah, it's like available for a little bit of a boost, but I don't expect to see him making lap after lap connected bumper to bumper.
A lot of guys now forming in that outside line. Seeing some guys giving up on this bottom groove really quickly. Denny Hamlin, one of them right there, jumps in front of his teammate.
How about Ross Chastain? We saw he had to pit, had to restart in the back. He has already driven himself in that green car right behind Kyle Busch, driven himself up to 10th place. He is aggressive tonight.
Interesting you mentioned falling to the back and up to the front. We saw Chase Elliott at the start of this race running up front. Then he decided to drop all the way to the back. We saw the 9 and the 1 of Kurt Busch back there running in the back. And now once again the 9 back up front of this field.
Up front and up top. And with it he's pulled basically every car in the field. Only 2 cars at the bottom of the racetrack. 21 laps to go on the stage. And Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, 2 professionals, 2 experienced drivers. They have towed the field to the top. And with that, I expect the speed, overall speed, to pick up. When the lane gets like this, Junior, man, it just seems like RPMs go up, and you're going to see some of the fastest speeds of the night.
Yeah, when you run the bottom, that kind of bogs the cars down. You turn the wheel a little bit more, it loads the cars harder into the corner, and it slows them down. It allows guys to get to each other's bumpers. There's a lot more lifting. When you go to the top of the racetrack, there's less load on the car, less friction, less slowing the car down. Everybody's wide open running around the top.
Single file, all chasing after Chase Elliott. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series Coke Zero Sugar 400. Racing here at the High Bank since 1959. The Allison brothers, Petty, Pearson, so many names with so much success here at Daytona, including Bill Elliott, a multiple-time winner here at Daytona, and right now his son up front at Daytona trying to capture this Coke Zero Sugar 400. Aerial coverage tonight brought to you by Geico. We get a pretty good perspective of the line of cars trying to run the high side here at Daytona International Speedway. So it's Elliott, Logano, Custer, Austin Dillon, Keselowski, the top 5, William Byron, Christopher Bell, Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Ross Chastain, the top 10. Let's get a few updates. We go to Parker.
Right, Rick. And whenever we see these sort of top lanes form, the next question becomes, all right, who's going to be first to make the move to try and make that bottom lane work? Well, my eye sort of gravitates towards who's grouped up together, and that's where I find Christopher Bell in the 20, Denny Hamlin in the 11, and Kyle Busch in the 18. 3 Toyotas right there, sitting just outside the top 5. As we rumble towards the end of the stage, you have to think those 3 being so closely linked up could be the first to make a move, Dave.
Parker, as these drivers come to an understanding of what this new racing package is all about. Kyle Busch, always descriptive, called his car a turd. He said it was horrible, but that's his way of saying it's not like it used to be. He also radioed the team and said, I have to have a car behind me pushing me to make my run. That wasn't the case in the past, and Kyle right now is in the top 10 with that, quote, horrible race car, Marty.
Dave, so many drivers are in a position to win tonight, put themselves into the playoffs, including Chris Buescher. When I talked to him earlier this week, he said, when I went back and watched film with my team, I analyzed that we were putting ourselves in a spot to win at these super speedway tracks, but I wasn't making the aggressive move at the end of the race. That's what I want to make different tonight. Put ourselves in the spot, but be willing to block at the end of the race and maybe win and put ourselves in the playoffs.
One thing this single file line does is it puts the pressure on the guys trying to find points or trying to protect points, because it's hard to move throughout the pack. And you see the fourth car in line, the 3 of Austin Dillon, came in below the cut line. He knew he had to find a way to gain points on his team out. Well, currently, when you see how they run, if it was going to finish like this through all the stages, he would be in, Reddick would be out, because Reddick all the way back in 20th. Well, normally we would say 20th, that's a couple rows back at the Speedway, 2 and 3 wide. But single file around the top, there's just not a lot of opportunity for Reddick to make any sort of moves. He has to just sit back there and wait for the field to get jumbled up, probably with 1 to go in the stage.
Yeah, Steve, we just heard Parker Kligerman say he's looking to see who is going to be the first car to make a move. That's who I'm looking at, is Austin Dillon. He has so much to gain by winning a stage, by getting as many points as possible because of that battle you just talked about with his teammates. So that, to me, is a guy that should be able to make the first move. The question is, who will go with him, Dave?
There were a couple of concerns for Tyler Reddick back in 21st position in that 8 car. Early on, the radio was not good. They got that taken care of. And then Tyler was feeling out the package as well here and said he couldn't quite understand if the engine was bogging down or if it was just the way this car was going to run tonight. Crew Chief Randall Burnett told me we're keeping our eye on the 3. We have to watch what he does and make sure we're within those 25 points that we had coming in here. As we showed on the left, he's outside of that right now.
It's funny, Jeff, because you think the first person to make the move would be the 3, and the crew chief in me says be the last guy to make the move, because I don't want you to, stir up the pack. See if we can keep it single file as long. I'm not sure which is the best strategy. We'll have to just wait and see. 12 more laps in this stage, but it looked like the 9 of Chase Elliott. Is that a piece of debris? I see it. I mean, something right in the center.
Yeah. And they've talked about it, and he tried to get that debris off, and it did not come off, as you can see there. And the temps are climbing on that 9 car, and that's sometimes the penalty, Junior, when you're out here in front leading at Daytona or Talladega.
Yep, that's right. Running that high line, all of the debris from all the debris from on the racetrack moves up into the groove. The leader's the first one to get it. Every time. It's happened so many times at Daytona and Talladega. The only fear for any driver who's going to carry this field around the top of the racetrack. Nobody is in any hurry to get around you, so you can't get behind other cars to be able to get that off. He may have to give up this lead or come to pit road to clean that grill, Marty.
And Dale, a moment ago, I want to get Steve's take on this. Chase said it was 260. At what point, if you're Alan Gustafson, do you get concerned about those water temps?
You know, Marty, I could have told you for years, but water temperature and how hot these cars are able to run is like a closely guarded secret in the garage area now. They're all making basically gains in how hot they can run their car, because you can.
Wanted to do something, I think. It's slowed down a bunch. Like the last 5 degrees have been slower, but it's still creeping.
Great information by your driver. It was 260, now it's 270. It's slowly creeping up, but it is creeping up. We saw a car last night wait too long, lose water, break his engine. So the 9 of Chase Elliott and Alan Gustafson are going to have to make a decision. 10 laps seems like a long ways to stay on the racetrack, Dave.
And a driver who really wants to know what's going on up there is a second place driver, the LO22 of Logano. He's like, what's going on with the 9? Does he have debris? Because he wants to know if something bad's going to happen with that 9 car. He's going to make a sudden move or even move over, and Joey's suddenly going to have to know that he is slowing and giving up that spot.
It looked like to me he just put his hand out the window through the trowel. Chase Elliott, knowing he's got to get out of the way, trying to let those guys know, Marty.
What they're going to try and do is they're going to try and get back to their teammate William Byron, the next white car you'll see coming up behind Chase Elliott, and they've asked William Byron to let him in, but what it's done is broken up this entire pack now as we come to the end of stage 1.
So what needs to happen here is Williams got to push that 9 closer to the 3. Look, there it goes. Gone. Perfect. Textbook move. Chase Elliott now can maybe try to back off a little bit here, create a little space, allow the air to get into that grill.
It's off, it's off.
And there you go, Junior just pops out of line, right? A little gulp of fresh air.
And that disrupted this group. Now, Brad Keselowski, he was on the bottom of the racetrack. He saw that move, he went with them. And then Christopher Bell went with him. Now, that move happened way sooner than he wanted it to do. They didn't know what was going on. They just went to the bottom. We'll see how this works out for them. It may be an advantage because a lot of cars ended up going to the bottom with them.
Yeah, and now the debris is on the nose of the 22 car.
It is, look at that.
So, I mean, that's the worst thing about leading the high line. It doesn't seem to happen when these guys run the bottom, but when the whole field goes to the top, it cleans all the debris and brings all the debris right up to that lane.
And that's where the air intake is, right there on the bottom, right where that piece of debris is. We're going to go NASCAR nonstop. You won't miss a thing.
Moonlight.
Hey, race fans, when in Las Vegas, stay where the racers stay at South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. Your ultimate pit stop on the Las Vegas Strip. South Point, everything you want all under one roof. You saw it, NASCAR nonstop, some crazy driving up front already. We saw the Austin Dillon move in the 3, the 9 of Chase Elliott, aggressive. Logano moved out of line, trying to take the lead. Take a look at this.
I think most of the energy in this draft is coming off the nose of that 11 car. Look at Hamlin. He is pushing this 3 car of Austin Dillon everywhere around this racetrack, and it's created runs for this 9 car. It's put Dillon in a difficult spot. Dillon goes up there and pushes the 22.
And right here, I feel like Logano, I don't really know that he wanted to make this run, but he got so much of a push. And there he goes underneath him. He wanted to get up and block. It just, there he goes. Oh, not quite clear.
Incredible driving by Chase Elliott right there to stay off the fence. That car was out of shape.
Coming up on 2 laps to go in stage 1, and it's Chase Elliott up front, Austin Dillon running in the 2nd spot. He needs points. Austin Dillon, again, fighting for every point. If there isn't a new winner, he could get in based on points. He's fighting right now with Tyler Reddick, his teammate at RCR.
Austin Dillon's situation is really tough. He wants to make this move, but if he makes it too soon, like you talked about, Steve, and people don't go with him, he could lose all of his points. So he's got to stay in this position as long as he can and make the move just at the right time. Well, there he goes. Hamlin didn't go with him. Now he's down there all by himself. Who's coming? Anybody coming to help? There's nobody there. Here comes Joey Logano.
How quickly will he fall back? And how far will he fall back?
He's going to dive down in front of this 22 and hope to create some momentum off the nose of that 22 and regroup and rebound, be able to get back up here in this fight.
We'll see what kind of car he has right now. If he can go pick up 3 or 4 more spots, we know he's got a fast car. Got a great pusher behind him in Logano.
It's a good little Speedway racer in that 3 car. Knows how to side draft. He's working that side draft a little bit. He's using the energy off the nose of this 22 to make himself drive this car back up almost to the inside of Denny Hamlin here. They go down the back straightaway. Good formation on the outside.
Hamlin also trying to gain as many points as he possibly can as he's fighting for a regular season championship tonight.
Look at Denny pushing through the corner. He's the only car doing that tonight. He's very aggressive with his bunt drafting. Really putting all these guys on notice, keeping them on their toes. Now the 18 car's getting turned.
Wow, close save for the 18, but it's going to be Chase Elliott who ends up winning the stage. Denny Hamlin second, Kyle Busch hanging on to it for third.
You don't see many guys save that. You really don't. Getting turned back to the right it's so hard to save that race car. Incredible driving.
On, I guess. Alrighty then.
Incredible save. I thought he was done.
Points for Hamlin. He needed them. Points for Austin Dillon. He needed them as well. And right now, Kyle Busch, he might need a towel for the sweat that happened here. What a save. Every single driver in the field is working their way toward the Ruoff Mortgage victory lane. That's where they want to end up at the end of the race tonight, and only one will have that opportunity. Cars are on pit road now, Dave.
And after a great save, Kyle Busch still has that opportunity, thankfully. 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for him. Really ready for those fresh tires, Parker.
Denny Hamlin, the 11, said he had a move to make there, but he didn't think it was worth it. Chris Gabehart agreed it's to be 4 Goodyear tires for Denny. Marty.
Alan Gustafson making the call for fresh Goodyear tires for Chase Elliott as well. He said, man, our car is good, but I cannot push like the 11 car can. He said he may have shown his hand, meaning the 11 car, a little bit much there. 9 team does a good job, but Kyle Busch's team does a better job. They will leave second on pit road, but you see Cody Ware there, fuel only. He leaves with a lead.
We'll see if he can hang on to it. Kyle Busch also moving up some spots. He is up to second now. NASCAR on NBC is brought to you by Ford. Built Ford proud. Ally. Do it right. And by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only paying for what you need. You can go inside the headset with access to NASCAR Scanner for only $2.99 a month. Listen in on the pit strategy, that spotter communication, which is so incredible here at Daytona. That is available. All you have to do is visit NASCAR.com/scanner. Start your subscription tonight. And while we're at the break, after stage 1, let's check in with Peacock Pit Box. Kelly, DJ, and Brad.
And Rick, before the start of this race, we heard Austin Dillon, driver of the 3 car, say his objective was to go win both stages and win the race. Well, he made a pretty aggressive move, DJ, going for that stage win. It ultimately cost him a couple of spots and therefore a couple of points. So was it the right move?
It was still the right move to find that out in stage 1, exactly what he was capable of doing and what he couldn't do. Obviously, he's doing a tremendous job, has a fast race car, made a couple of good saves. The racing was just incredible. I have no idea, Brad, how we're going to get to stage 3 and see all of this continue to happen.
It's unbelievable. As we look behind us, the whole field is topping off with one to go. Absolutely. That was a great move by Austin Dillon because ultimately he has another chance in this stage. And the bottom line is you want to win the 3rd stage. He had to take that gamble to see what he had. Great opportunity to learn.
What else with this new package has stood out to you? We've heard some of the drivers on the racetrack say just how different it is. What are you noticing?
Yeah, the thing I'm noticing is the ability for these guys to catch these race cars. DJ pointed it out with Kyle Busch right there. 10 miles an hour faster, he probably doesn't catch that race car. These guys are all over top of one another, and they're saving these cars because of the lack of speed.
3 wide. I think my heart rate was higher than Denny Hamlin's. We saw in his whoop strap there, Rick. It's been a lot of fun to watch so far.
It's been incredible. Steve, we just saw something amazing here. Are they going to try to make it to the end of the stage?
Oh, absolutely. 46 to go. We're going to see the green with 45 to go. We thought they could go 40 to 44. We're getting a couple laps under yellow. That was kind of a guess on fuel mileage. We have seen some racing. Maybe they figure when they get single file, they can save some gas. So basically, I'll call it the entire field. 80% of the field came down pit road and topped off, which is going to be a huge strategy play. If this goes green, there'll be a handful of cars that are going to have to pit, while the rest of the field can make it without a pit stop in this stage. You heard Big Brad say, man, what is happening behind us? There's more cars on pit road than I could have thought. Another little update, 22 of Joe Logano for throwing equipment. I've yet to see the video. Normally it's an air gun is what they get you for. You can't throw your pit equipment. Much as sometimes I would like to have thrown it, you can't throw it.
Trying to speed up any stops that they are having, and that's why the 22 got caught for that. And getting ready now for the restart. Field approaching the Geico restart zone. Elliott, Truex Jr., LaJoie, Priest, Bell, Buescher, Stenhouse Jr. all up here inside the top 7.
Some names we have yet to see really towards the front tonight. We'll see how these guys figure it out. You mentioned it. You got LaJoie up there, Priest, Castle in that 96 inside the top 10, Cody Ware in 13th.
Yeah, we saw Cody Ware. We saw him move up, at least we thought, 15 spots. Probably either just that quick fuel splash or maybe missed the pit stall.
He missed it, then he fueled his car, but then the rest of the field topped off. I mean, it was really a 3-way cycle as we see some moving and shuffling at the back. Let's listen into the 3 of Austin Dillon and their opinion on the fuel.
You want to be the aggressor.
If we get a caution, we'll be fine. It's going to be close. We're lap or 2 right now.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I don't want to have to lift, but
yeah, 10-4, everyone's going to have to, man. It's going to be close. See the speed in our car, our mileage is not great.
All right, so there you go. No one they feel can make it. Everyone's going to have to lift. The crew chief says, listen, if we get a yellow, you can save fuel and we're good. Dillon doesn't really want to have to lift, so there's going to be, on top of this chaos and all of these moves, there's going to be a little bit of a chess match with how much fuel you're burning, Parker.
Right, Steven, that was a question mark coming into this race. Remember, there was a change in the package, so many of these crew chiefs were unsure about how far you could really go. Many of them looked at this stage and thought you could make it all the way, and they said, you know, that first stage is going to tell us our fuel mileage, but we won't know anything until we get those fuel mileage readings from that first stage. And it sounds like the 3 is saying that that's not what they were hoping for.
See that guy running in second place right there. Christopher Bell trying to look to the inside just a little bit. Corey LaJoie in that 7 car finished top 10 in 3 of the last 4 races here at Daytona. So he knows what to do at these plate races. He's got to run on Martin Truex Jr. Going to the inside. I don't think he's going to be able to clear this 19. Parker.
Well, this is really awesome to see out of Corey LaJoie, and it's unusual. Every single plate race he's done in his Cup career, he's been in a position where the team has asked him to hang out those first 2 stages. Just take care of the car, get to the end. He told me today, the team told him, go for it. Go as hard as you want. Go try and win this thing. And he said after stage 1, man, this is a lot different. Also, if you look on the hood of that car, you see that face? That's a man named Brandon Butler who won a competition from Built Bar to get his face on Corey LaJoie's car running up front here at Daytona. That's pretty cool.
I was running a little lap. 10-4, you got it. It's all good.
What a ride right now for Brandon Butler. Dave.
See the red, white, and blue 37 car there of Ryan Priest. I talked to Ryan at driver introductions today. Said, how are you going to race it tonight? He said, I am going to race at the front of the pack once I get there. This car has been great all season long. It got damaged in the Daytona 500. They repaired it. It didn't get much damage at Talladega. They just buffed and fluffed it. And now he's racing hard in that car, seeing if he can win and put himself in the playoffs.
Well, 5 of the top 10 are not currently in the playoffs. So when you talk about guys that could win, here's the list. Winning in tonight, Reddick to Anthony Alfredo. It's a long list. I'd go through it, but we'd go 10 laps. I mean, the list is so long. And when I look at the list, I mean, names jump out, guys that have led laps, can lead laps, and can win here.
You know, one thing, guys, I've noticed is that in a lot of races in the recent past here, we've really seen Chevys work with Chevys, Ford work with Fords, Toyotas work with Toyotas, but it's just a big mix today. It doesn't seem like as big of a concerted effort to get it all hooked up together. There's a lot of Toyotas in the front of this pack, but we really haven't seen that effort like we normally do, where no matter what, we're going to run together.
Got 2 Gibbs Toyotas leading this outside line, and that has controlled that outside line and allowed them to organize and break free. Chase Elliott, though, has not gave up on trying to get Corey LaJoie back to the front as he continues to push this number 7 car here for this inside line. We got enough cars in that inside line to keep that momentum up.
And Kurt Busch just went underneath Tyler Reddick going into turn 3. Now they're 3 wide. The energy from that inside line is getting pulled back right now. That just takes that energy away. You really need the inside line to get just lined up, just like that outside line. Just everybody single file.
We've checked in on Denny Hamlin a few times, and his amazingly low heart rate, under 100, seems to be so calm. A little bit different for Daniel Suarez. This guy is in impeccable shape. I've seen him working out. I mean, look at that strain. Remember, 0 to 21. It was very low to start the race. It's climbed over 7. That's basically equivalent to a 45-minute session in the gym, so they tell me. I'm going to believe them. But it's 128, so his heart rate is quite a bit higher than Denny Hamlin, who we've checked in on, and he's been under 100 most of the night.
Yeah, we want to thank Whoop as well as Daniel and Denny, the guys that are wearing these and letting us see just what kind of strain they're under out here on the racetrack, nearly 200 miles an hour, inches apart.
And listen, it's not position. Drivers, I'm going to have to ask y'all, this amazes me, right? That we have one driver at 130, 140, and Denny Hamlin barely cresting 100. I don't think that's physical fitness. I believe that's some sort of just approach, almost like a golfer, keeping himself calm behind the wheel.
I agree with you. I think it's, you know, Denny Hamlin's been here for a long time. He's very comfortable with himself, knows what he's doing, had a lot of success. All that matters.
See, Rick, calm. That's what helped your golf game. Calm. See,
I told you, my heart rate when the race started was at 100.
I know.
And these guys were at 70, and they're in the cars.
You're 96 at play-by-play. Denny Hamlin's 96 on the racetrack.
You see a little.
Daniel Suarez has had 7 DNFs, wrecks in 8 of his races here. He would be nervous. His heart rate would be higher.
You see a little bit different strategy from Denny now that he's in this pack. Not quite as aggressive pushing. He seems to reserve that for when he gets toward the front, Marty.
And Junior, a lot of patience actually here in stage 2 so far, because a lot of these teams feel like they need to save a little fuel, including Chase Elliott. Listen.
Is what I'm doing okay, or you need more?
No, you've been fine. We'll keep you up to speed. We'll be a little easier with more cars in front of you, but you're doing good.
I really should have chose the top for that situation. I messed up on that, but trying to make the most of it here.
Is what he doing? That's what he means when he's saying, am I saving enough fuel? When Chase meant, I should have chose the top line. Steve, when you're in that top line with all those cars and you're in the middle of that pack, you can save a lot more fuel. Chase Elliott trying to stay behind the 7 right now and save fuel at the same time.
Listen, it's no different than going down the interstate. Pull up behind a tractor trailer. I don't suggest you do this, but behind a tractor trailer, your car starts moving around. It's almost towing you along. You don't have to push your own car, saving that gas.
Getting towed along here in the Coke Zero Sugar 400 Daytona. anything can happen now that summer's #1 show is live. Don't miss the last chance for contestants to fight for a spot in the finale. America's Got Talent, Tuesday and Wednesday on NBC. Take a look at our Toyota driver updates as Martin Truex Jr. leading the field here at Daytona International Speedway. One thing missing from his resume, it's not a championship, it's not wins on short tracks or intermediate tracks, it's a win on a super speedway. Martin Truex Jr. has checked the box on everything else, but has not been able to find victory lane yet on a super speedway. Maybe tonight's the night.
Well, he was inches away from winning the Daytona, literally inches away from winning the Daytona 500 a few years ago when Denny Hamlin beat him back to the line. So he's been close. He's just never been the guy.
Want to go through the field presented by Applebee's, and we'll start with Dave.
And Rick, 32 times here at Daytona has Truex tried to win the race and finished twice second. Also never won at Talladega, so this type of track has been good to him, just not in victory lane. Right now the car running well. No real adjustments on that first stop, just 4 tires, Parker.
Right behind him is Christopher Bell out the back there. Right now coming to this race, he is locked in the playoffs, but speaking to his crew chief Adam Stevens, he said we need playoff points. That means going out and trying to win the stage and win this race. They need those because as they enter the playoffs, they will be at a serious deficit for playoff points, which could be an issue to being able to advance through the rounds. Behind him, a great run for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and that 47 team. One of those cars that's within the top 30 in points and came to this race with one objective. We've got to win. If we can pull out a miracle win, we will find ourselves in the playoffs. Right now, running in third. Very happy with that race car, Dave.
I like what crew chief Ben Bayshore for the green car of Kyle Busch told me today. He said, we can't ride at the back today. There are too many, quote, local battles going on in the points. We've got to make sure we get every one that we can tonight, Parker.
And then right now, the 3 Austin Dillon. We heard how concerned they were on fuel pitting at lap 54, but the team just recently came on the radio as he rode there, saving as much fuel as he goes 3 wide right here, trying to get back up to the top lane. They told him, you're on the number, you're all good on fuel to the end.
The 19 just got shuffled out of the lead, and now it's the 20 of Christopher Bell who's up front. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. running in that second spot, and it's not unfamiliar to see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. running up front at Daytona, but that was a close call right there.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah, side drafting there.
Interesting to see this 20 car make that move and go around his teammates. You have to wonder whether the 19 needed to get back here and save a little fuel and get off the gas pedal a little bit. Either way, the 20 goes to the inside with this run and takes the lead, and it's kind of shuffled up the rest of the pack. We've got 3 wide action now, several rows back. Corey LaJoie still leading that one line, the middle line, as he fades down to the bottom in front of the 8 car of Tyler Reddick.
Junior, I think you called it. I mean, I just believe that 19, he was last on pit road at lap 52. The guys that topped off at lap 54, it seemed to me that the 19 needed to get back and try to save some of that precious fuel. Let's listen into what they're saying.
Still slowly climbing. Yep, copy that. What we're going to have to do here is probably, so we're going to try and work something to let the 20 try to grab us.
Said something was climbing. I couldn't quite make it out, so I don't know if maybe he had debris on the grill I didn't see. I mean, instantly now the 20 of Christopher Bell has debris on his grill. The grill's clean right now, but maybe we could go back and look when the 19 was leading and see if the grill is dirty. This is consistently an issue with the leader there, Junior.
Yeah, and it seems like it's after several laps into a run. So as we continue to circle around this racetrack, the cars themselves sweep all the debris up against the wall. The leader picks it up on the next trip through, but it happens later in these runs.
So you were right. It wasn't fuel perhaps, but there was a real reason why that he wanted to get out from in front of the car. As you see, the 20 has debris. All right, so it's hard to see. Oh, there you go. That's a big piece of debris on the whole right side of that grill.
And now the 20 car has debris on his grill as well. So he'll have to figure out whether he needs to get that off or not, Marty.
Boy, it just doesn't pay to lead tonight, does it? If you're running that top line, it seems like everybody is getting debris. We had talked about Chase Elliott among those who last pitted at lap 52. There he sits in the 6th spot. Checked in with Alan Gustafson. They got him to the top line. They believe that now Chase is going to be able to save enough fuel to make it to the end of the stage. But see, that's the talk up and down pit road. If you didn't top off before the green flag, can you make it to the end of the stage?
Yeah, I mean, if those guys that topped off are close, you're asking your car to go 2 more laps, which is 5 more miles. So I'm not saying they can't do it, but it's going to be very difficult. The question is, do you wait right until you only need a splash of fuel, come down pit road with, say, 3 to go and try not to lose a lap? I think that's your only option if you don't think you can make it.
See, Joey Logano, remember, he got penalized for throwing equipment. He now has found himself to the front, leading this inside line. Got by Corey LaJoie. Let's see if he can bring enough momentum to move the line forward. Great drive by him to get back up there that quickly.
That's one guy that knows how to side draft that outside line, try to maintain when he can and make gains when he can. And he should be able to bring that inside line up. And again, we'll probably see one of these guys decide to jump down in front of that 22.
He has to prove he has enough momentum, though. If they just see him kind of hanging out there, they're not going to be enticed to go down there. He's got to show speed, forward momentum, and then they will pull out in front of him.
But look how he stayed on the door of that 14 car down the back straightaway, waiting on his help. And when the help gets there, he pulls down in front of him, and he goes, and he moves forward. When he loses that help, he side drafts really hard on the car on the outside to slow that car down and hold them in position until the help comes again.
Up front, it's Christopher Bell taking his Toyota to the high line here at Daytona. Just coming out of turn 4, the caution has come out. You see the most damage on the 10 here of Eric Almirola. He had won at New Hampshire, and so that locks him into the playoffs. But this obviously really difficult as far as momentum entering the playoffs.
So look at the front of this. Tyler Reddick pushing into the back of Corey LaJoie, gets it in the left rear, and then they start stacking up behind him. You don't even see Eric Almirola anywhere in the picture, but all of that caused this. 10 rows back, this wreck happened.
Yeah, once they all started checking up from that 7 car getting a little loose. Look at that, the 4 car up the racetrack. All these guys lifting off the gas, and then behind them, the 10 car gets run over and unable to control his car. The 48 spins as well.
And there's some pretty heavy damage on the rear of that 10, Junior.
Yeah, hard lick right there.
So you want to ride around in the back where it's safe. That's the problem. You can get wrecked anywhere.
Damage to the left front of the 48 of Alex Bowman.
Yeah, that last
fix that.
That last replay helped me. I wasn't quite sure where the 10 got the damage. You know, I understood he came off the banking, but now the contact to the 48 seems to be the spot.
And Kyle Larson just barely missed that.
Half, quarter, 2 by 2. 23, 10,
Oh,
48.
wow, look at the damage
Stacking.
on the back of the 37.
Inside, top of 3.
How much damage will that do to the 11?
Behind us here.
Am I the only one that's shocked that you can hit a car that hard to damage and the thing stays straight? I mean, you hit him dead square. We'll have to keep that in mind in the 11, Junior, because to your point, we might not see the damage on the 11, but has it hurt the cooling of this car at all up around the ductwork?
Well, you do that at Martinsville, you knock the radiator out.
Yeah.
What a great picture, though. We were riding along with Denny Hamlin. He couldn't see anything. He had no idea they were slowing up in front of him.
Well, this is going to solve the fuel conversation we were having. The guys that were close will definitely save enough right here. The question is, does somebody feel they have to come and get tires? Wouldn't be a bad idea.
It's split. The center of that splitter is knocked up in the air, isn't it?
It looks to me definitely not flat between the kind of letters and Camry. Perhaps it's pushed up or the lower grill's pushed in. Optical illusion, maybe.
It looks like right on top of the grill area below the bumper bar.
All right, we're going to pit right here.
That's
We're going to pit. 4 tires of fuel. It's a quickie yellow.
Pulled that splitter up right in the center.
So my concern is, you know, the cooling of these cars. Basically, you have a radiator and that front grill, and it's called ductwork. Consider like a snorkel. Basically, there is either carbon fiber or aluminum that surrounds that opening and directs the air. Just like your air conditioning ductwork at your home, it directs the air into the radiator. Well, if you hit like that and the thing buckles and comes loose off the nose, then you don't have the efficiency to cool your car. That will affect the speed of the 11.
And we'll see how many come to pit road. Wild ride for Kevin Harvick, so he's on his way to pit road. We see the 11 also on pit road. Dave.
Yeah, Rick, they want to get a look at that, just make sure everything is okay on the 4 car, and also change the tires on that. Kevin Harvick still without a victory this year. This has been their best wheelhouse, the Super Speedways, Parker.
And also the 11 of Denny Hamlin here on pit road, as we saw him run in the back of the car there and sort of get some damage on the front end. Chris Capehart wanted to check it out. Although the team on the box was already looking at high-def photos immediately getting given to them with that damage, you see them looking it up right in the front, Marty.
Parker, true to his promise, Kyle Larson, still the regular season points leader, has been hanging out in the back tonight. They did try to make a run for some stage points at the end of stage 1. 4 fresh Goodyear tires for Larson, who's playing it conservative. How long do they keep doing that?
It was an engine issue early for Michael McDowell. Now this, the accordion effect. It collects the 10 of Eric Almirola, the 48, also of Alex Bowman involved. The new Sonic Crave cheeseburger made with new Sonic Crave sauce and 100% pure seasoned beef. What are you craving today? Try one half price in the app for a limited time only at Sonic. All right, Steve, what happens when you run into the back of a car?
Well, I'm hoping it gets his attention a little bit. You see right around 100. That's what we've seen, a little bit of contact. And I think that's got to get Denny Hamlin's attention a little bit. We're going to see. There you go. Whew. Thank goodness I was getting ready to go down there and check his pulse manually if it didn't move a little bit. I mean,
he's human.
Still only went up 10.
Yeah. All right, Joey Logano on the inside. Christopher Bell on the outside. Green flag back in the air. Big shove from Corey LaJoie in the 7. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 47 on the outside, trying to push that 20 along.
Corey's done a good job to get this 22 clear. Off the turn 2, Joey Logano gets to decide on which lane he's going to choose to stay in front of. Down the back straightaway, he moves up the top, trying to get some energy off the 20 car here. That inside line, though, has got a great run here. The 8 car pushing Corey LaJoie, Reddick and LaJoie down into turn 3.
Kyle Busch trying to make it 3 wide. Christopher Bell moves up in front of him. Now Corey LaJoie moves up.
Reddick's now clear into second place.
That's the first time we've seen Corey LaJoie try that high line. Now he
honestly,
stays
I think he chased it up there. I think 8 car had him going off in the corner so fast he chased the car up the racetrack.
You were thinking my thoughts. I don't think he went there on purpose. I think that's just, he was thankfully had a lane to go to.
He remembered the last time they went off in that corner, but spun out.
Busher now on the inside in the 17, trying to get that low line working. Less than 18 laps to go in stage 2. Tyler Reddick, known as an aggressive driver coming into this race. He had enough points to be in the 16th spot, pushing and shoving. LaJoie almost up into the wall. Christopher Bell moves down to avoid.
Once again, that started with LaJoie and Reddick. That time, LaJoie pushing Reddick. Here it is. LaJoie into the back. Moves him up the track. Christopher Bell just had to hang a left to keep running into him. We need to separate that 47 and that 8.
Logano still up front, Reddick running second.
They move down to the bottom in front of the 17 and Busher. And behind him, Ryan Blaney. Ryan's really good at the plate tracks. Up in that 17 car. Now Corey in the back of this 47. Down the back straightaway, Kyle Busch says, man, I'm going to try to get around both you guys here. Goes to the middle. Dave.
And look at the back and forth between the teammates. The 3 of Austin Dillon earlier had the upper hand. Now it goes to Tyler Reddick. As long as there's not a new for 21 winner, look at the points difference there above the red line. He's added to his 25-point lead coming in for the moment. Points are not added yet, but this is how it would look if the race were to end now. Of course, it's not. But Reddick doing everything he needs to do, keeping that 8 car now at the front.
And it's definitely the points as they're running. And so Reddick trying to do everything that he can to lock himself in.
Now we got a car on the outside here, the 47 of Stenhouse, trying to side draft really hard on that inside line and then pull back up and get the energy off of Kyle Busch's number 18. They go down into turn 3. The 47 still side drafting the 12 of Blaney, trying to hold him at bay until the help from the 18 gets there. Off of the turn, they open up the wheel down the straightaway. They're connected, pushing hard on this outside.
And now look who's pushing Denny Hamlin up the middle, a car we haven't seen yet. That's the 5 of Kyle Larson. Dark blue car, red number 5, a little different paint scheme. Right on the rear bumper of the 11, who is racing for the regular season championship.
Kyle Busch back to the bumper of that 47 car. He had that 47 of Stenhouse all the way up alongside the 8 of Reddick. Reddick, he's going to try to defend it this time. He pulls up in front of Stenhouse down the back straightaway.
Now that high line forming up, and they're starting to pull away. Hamlin in the middle, trying to make something work, trying to use that momentum that he got from Kyle Larson.
Reddick backs up off the throttle here. Is he going to try to put a run together? He's got some great help behind him as they come off turn 4. They've got a big run on the leader, Logano up front.
And now it's 14 laps to go in stage 2. Parker.
And guys, you see Denny Hamlin there trying to make that middle lane work with the 5 of Kyle Larson behind him, who you guys mentioned he's racing for the regular season championship. Take a listen to what the team had to say about points.
It's important. I can't waste any laps. I'm going to try to get some points here.
From here on out, strategy is going to be full-on cutthroat. So, won't be time to ride around the back anymore.
So if what he's been doing wasn't cutthroat and riding around, I don't know what we're about to see out of the 11 here, because he's been one of the most aggressive pushers all night, and now he says, hey, we got to go for it, Marty.
And Parker, we have not seen Kyle Larson race up front all night long, but they knew when the 11 dropped back, they had to match that move with a counter move. Listen to their radio.
I feel like I kind of got to do just whatever the 11 does here, because I feel like the closer I am to him, the least amount of points we're losing.
Yeah, I would agree, and I would expect him to make a run to try to go get some stage points. So, if nothing else, you can latch onto him, or you can lead the charge. Up to you.
So trust me, there is a lot to fight for everyone right now. Larson hanging on to that regular season lead, just plus 17.
And the regular season championship, that ends tonight. At the end of this race, the drivers that are from 1 all the way through 10 are going to receive playoff points. The guy who wins the regular season championship gets 15 playoff points. The guy who finishes second gets 10 playoff points. 8 on down from there, finishing in the top 10 in points. So that's what they're fighting for right now. All those playoff points that they can carry into the playoffs, which start next week. We go NASCAR nonstop. You won't miss a thing. Currently running third is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He was very gracious with his time today. He let a camera follow him all day long. And we will have a feature on NASCAR American Motor Mouse on Wednesday that will feature what Ricky Stenhouse did. So thanks to Ricky for allowing us to do that. Motor Mouse, once again, on Peacock. It is Monday and Wednesday, 6 to 7 Eastern. So make sure to sign up for Peacock at peacocktv.com.
Well, 68 laps to go in the race. I think there's going to be a lot to still discuss on Motor Mouse this week. We've seen a relatively calm race, but Blaney and Chase Elliott on the bottom are continuing to push. And for the fans that are watching, you could call into that Motor Mouth show, have a conversation, ask us your thoughts.
And the drivers that are your guests as well.
We've got 3 great friends down there working on the bottom. Bubba Wallace as well behind that 9-car, Chase Elliott. You know they're going to stay committed to each other. 22 is going to go down there and try to block that run they've got. He's going to try to maintain control of the front of this field by going back and forth from lane to lane, using the information from his spotter. They've made some changes on that 22 car, swapping spotters with Brad Keselowski. Coleman Presley going from Keselowski to the 22 car. TJ Majors leaving Logano and going to Brad Keselowski. This is one of their first races working together.
Remember, Coleman Presley won the race earlier at Talladega with Keselowski. Now is working with Logano.
Let's listen into the spotter communication of the 22.
Going to come on entry. Bottom's going to come on entry. There you go. One back to Blaney. He is not clear. Top's going to be pushing. Blaney is clear. Blaney is clear. Top's pushing better.
So he's giving him that information on telling him what lane's coming. So where to go to control this field.
Get to the top. Get to the top. Half back top.
Great information.
You got the 8. You're clear. 8's not.
Coleman Presley, the spotter, the son of Robert Presley, the veteran in the Cup Series years ago.
It's so important for the spotter when he says the 12 is clear, because that allows him to go to whatever lane he wants to go.
Unfortunately, though, that 22 got out there a little bit too far. They're going to have a big run on him. It's going to get a little bit dicey right here. The 12 to the inside.
Big shove by the 9 of Chase Elliott. Can he clear him? Blaney to the front and just can't clear his teammate.
Logano just to the right rear quarter panel, just enough to slow Blaney down. Now here comes Reddick. Blaney's clear now. Now he's no longer clear. Logano with the big side draft.
And Logano doesn't clear Blaney. Blaney back on the bottom of the racetrack trying to take the lead again.
47 in the back of the 8 car. They're going to have great momentum down this back straightaway. Blaney's going to side draft the 22 back into the 8. The 8 and the 22 are going to connect. Now the 9 and the 12 are also connected. Logano's clear. He's not able to get down the racetrack in front of that 12, though. The inside line's a little bit better organized. Logano's got to slow that 12 down and wait on his help.
Huge side draft in the middle of the corner from Logano. That did 2 things. It slowed the 12 down and it allowed the 8 of Reddick to get right behind Logano. Hamlin making it 3 wide on the outside.
That's going to disrupt the outside just a little bit. Will it be enough for this inside line to take advantage of it?
And 3 wide coming up on a lap car. That could get really tight right here.
Very slow lap car.
4 wide at Daytona is really tight.
And still side by side for the lead.
Both lines organized. Both lines pushing. Look at Tyler Reddick, though, get that 22 car out front. Now will Logano go to the bottom of the racetrack? I think so. He's going to go down there and pick up his teammate. Back up the racetrack. Back down the racetrack, just moving back and forth. He's out here pretty far. These guys are going to have a pretty big run on him. Dave.
And one of the most intriguing things about that spotter swap that you guys were talking about is that Joey's former spotter, TJ Majors, a former Dale Jr. spotter, was hired for races like this. He loved what TJ did with you, Dale Jr., and he wanted him as his spotter. So when they moved to Coleman Presley, this was going to be one of their bigger challenges. And so far, Presley is up to it, helping his driver stay out front.
The information that I hear from Coleman is perfect. Helping his driver understand exactly what's happening behind him. Paint the picture of what's going on behind me. Help me understand.
47, you're 2 ahead of the 47.
Yeah, it looked like that
2 to go here at the line.
47 is Stenhouse. He laid back big time down the back straightaway right there. Got a big run. Here he is with a big push on Reddick.
22, will he go up here and block this 8 car? He does. He pulls back up the racetrack.
Just 2 laps to go. We mentioned earlier they came onto pit road and topped off with fuel late after stage 1, but then when the caution came out, all should be good on fuel, but this would be right now where we could see somebody, if they didn't get enough fuel in that car, could run out of fuel.
Getting aggressive with the bump drafting here as we close in to get the white flag to end this stage. That inside line dropping back quite a bit now. Several cars on the outside are clear.
It's 3 wide behind that inside line's hurting the energy.
One more time around in stage 2. Tyler Reddick has been pushing Logano way out in front of the field. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. tucked in there in 3rd.
Austin Dillon made that move to the bottom that time. Made it early again, but push him from behind to see if he can make it work this time. Big run right here on Stenhouse.
Dillon trying to gain points again in this stage. He got 5 points in stage 1. Can he grab some more here?
He jumps to the outside of this 8 car. He's going to get some help from William Byron. Williams going to give him a push down the back straightaway. The 3 car, what does he do? A great block. Great defense from the 22 car. Gives the 3 no choice. Coming off of turn 4, will he have an opportunity?
Stay in single file, 3 and 24's on.
He's going to gain a lot of points here. Logano is going to win stage 2.
Good job. Nice stage 1, bud.
Oh, yeah. Nice job.
And Austin Dillon grabbing 9 more points, finishing 2nd in that stage. Great action tonight under the lights here at Daytona International Speedway. The high banks never disappoint. Logano up front winning stage 2. Austin Dillon grabbing a lot of points tonight as well.
Grab an ice cold Coke Zero Sugar and buckle up. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
It's been dicey. Logano wins stage 2. Chase Elliott won stage 1. The guys fighting for the regular season championship, Larson and Hamlin. That battle has tightened up, and the battle for the final spot, that 16th spot, has tightened up as well. Dave.
Stage winner Joey Logano very happy with his race car, was told to put it on the sign. He did exactly that. 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Parker.
And expect a pretty quick stop here for William Byron. This team wants to be able to get some track position here. Just right side tires for the 24. Very happy with that car. As you see the 3 at the binder screen, they're going to do 4 Goodyear tires after finishing 2nd in that stage and hope that Goodyear rubber gets them back out front. As you see, William Byron will win that race off pit road, just taking right sides.
Tire change for Byron Hamlin. He goes fuel only, gains 13 spots. Kids heading back to school this week. What about Anthony Benedetto? How about Daniel Suarez there? Photos from back in, oh, wait a minute. Was that Junior and Kelly? Yeah, Kurt Busch. Some of their school pictures, Eric Almirola and Kevin Harvick. Whoa. Wait a minute, did you say whoa for Kevin Harvick?
Didn't even look like it.
What about you and Kelly?
What, man, that was a great shot. Me and my sister.
Okay.
At the military school.
Coke Zero Sugar 400. And what a race it has already been through 2 stages, 1 stage to go. And before that stage gets underway, let's check back in with Peacock Pit Box. Kelly, DJ, and Brad.
And Rick, a couple of the drivers we knew would be trying to maximize stage points. We're talking about Austin Dillon and Kyle Larson. Both finished top 5 in that stage. But Brad, the problem for Austin Dillon is so did his teammate Tyler Reddick. Yeah. So he really didn't gain much there in terms of points.
No, he did not. But he did everything he needed to do as far as those first 2 stages. Race as hard as you can. Put yourself in position. Bottom line, that 3rd stage. Now he knows exactly what he has to do. He's got to go win this race.
Yeah, and it was impressive of Larson to jump up in there, get those points, show Denny Hamlin, hey, I'm not just going to give you this. Hamlin had run up in there and then fell back towards the end of that. So this 3rd stage should be very interesting, but it's going to come down, I believe. If you're going to try to get in and beat Tyler Reddick, you're going to have to win this race. Yeah.
Well, and how concerned should he be with some of these outliers, guys like Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Bubba Wallace, who we've been seeing run right up front, right in the mix.
I think that we're in for a surprise here when this comes out. So Tyler Reddick's going to have to stay up there and do everything. He did everything right in that stage pretty much.
Yeah, it's so unpredictable. We're seeing guys run up front we haven't seen run up front in a long time, and they're strong. Corey LaJoie's been strong tonight. Ricky Stenhouse has been strong. It's gonna set up for an interesting finish. Guys are gonna have to really be up on the wheel, pull those belts tight, and let's just see who's the last man standing.
With as intense as the racing has been through the first 2 stages, we expect it to ramp up here in this final stage, Rick.
Yeah, Kelly, it's been exciting to say the least, and now we're getting ready for the start of the final stage. Great racing always here at Daytona. And you could be headed on a VIP trip to the 2022 Daytona 500. You visit NASCAR.com/Daytona 500 and enter the code FC400 for your chance to win. See celebrations like that we saw earlier this year of Michael McDowell. What a race that was and always is. Get a few updates before the green flag flies. Dave.
Of course, Rick, Tyler Reddick does not want to see a new for 2021 winner. Kelly nailed it. That is his biggest concern right now because he's run the race perfectly so far, including basically a wash with his teammate that last time, Parker.
And one driver who does want to be that new 2021 winner, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's proving he has a really fast car. He told me before the race, I'm going to assess if I want to ride at the back or run up front, but if I run up front, it means it's fast. We've definitely seen that, Marty.
Hey, Parker, why not Matty D? They just came in and topped off a moment ago. He has run up to the front a couple of times tonight, but now he's in the back. He said, I'm 50-50 if I want to race here or not, but when I do decide to race, I'm confident we can run with him.
56 to go, Rick. I like the ride from here. I know that sounds crazy, but this is getting ready to get turned way up.
And a great comment by Marty there, why not? A lot of these drivers right now are saying, why not me, as we get the 3rd stage underway. William Byron, Denny Hamlin fighting for the lead now. Hamlin on the bottom of the racetrack. A big shove out of Kevin Harvick. 2 drivers who were in victory lane almost every other week a year ago, and neither has been to victory lane in 2021.
It'll be interesting to see what this 11 car can do after suffering the damage earlier in the race. He jumps up in front of William Byron trying to get a push here, hoping that Byron's going to commit to the back bumper of that 11 car. A little bit of shove off into turn 3 for Denny. Keeping that momentum up. Denny's going to try to form this top line as fast as he can. If everybody will commit to this top, Denny will more than happily drag them around here. So he's going to try to run high here, watching his mirror and see if anyone else stays with him. Dave.
Bubba Wallace running in 3rd. Remember, he told us before this race started today, for some odd reason, this place has been good to me. So close last year. He said it both frustrates and motivates me. That Toyota is strong. That driver is confident, especially when he comes to Daytona.
Steve,
in and out of the gas. Down the back straightaway. Modulating that throttle, trying to keep from hitting the back of the 24 car too hard.
Steve, 54 laps to go in this race. We haven't seen a green flag pit stop yet. Will we see a green flag pit stop tonight?
Well, if it runs under green with no yellows, absolutely. Everyone in the field would need some snow coat fuel to make it to the finish. The question is, will it run green as we start to see the top organize, the bottom just not giving up? There's still 8, 10, 15 cars in that bottom lane, Marty.
And look at the fourth car in line on the top. That purple car is Alex Bowman. Yes, the car that was spinning earlier in this race. Talking to Greg Ives, his crew chief, he said, I want Alex to learn. That's our #1 objective today. Learn for Talladega later this year. They are a playoff car. They've won 3 times this year. Alex has learned, hey, even when you've spun, you can come back and run in the top 5 right now, sitting in 4th.
Look at how hard the Fords are running right now. Logano and Harvick working together. Harvick gets out front.
As soon as he gets the lead, he goes up in front of this 11 car to try to slow down the momentum of that high side. Now he's going to be able to go back and forth. He has them side by side behind him. He's a little bit too far out front here.
Yeah, that lead car we've seen multiple times, Junior, get a big lead on those guys when they're side by side. And now watch the run that comes from Logano.
Logano jumps to the outside. He's going to try to get some help from this 11 and Denny Hamlin. Logano not satisfied with riding behind this 4 car, but the 4 car, great push from the 9. Denny Hamlin gets the 22 just a little upset. The 22 up out of the racetrack here. Denny goes to the middle.
See what everybody else does with Logano. Everybody going to the middle.
And now Chase Elliott to the lead. He jumps in front of the 4 car.
Here comes Christopher Bell trying to get to Logano to get that outside line moving.
It's incredible, the racing that we're seeing. Now the outside line's coming. Denny Hamlin shoving the 4 car of Harvick way out into the lead. Now he's going to have to be on the defense here. He tries to go up here and blocks the 24. Now he's going to get a push down this back straightaway. He's going to have an opportunity to do something with his 4 car. He chooses to stay behind Harvick and push Harvick.
Still amazingly, Denny Hamlin, 100 beats per minute. Crazy calm with 51 to go in the race, racing for the lead.
Denny and Harvick now in this top groove. You have to think these 2 veterans want to stay in line and want to get this whole field drug around the top.
With 3 wide, 10 rows back, it's going to be hard to drag them to the top right now.
Logano, after leading just a little while ago, dropped back to 5th in that highlight. Now trying to go to the bottom of the racetrack.
He's going to have a little help.
Get back up front.
Yeah, he's got a little help right there in the 42 car, Ross Chastain. Ross follows that 22 down there. They get picked up by Chase Elliott as well. Blaney behind him. They're going to try to work this inside line back up to the inside of the 3rd place car, William Byron.
Harvick and Hamlin, 1 and 2. Now a big run on the inside. Here comes the 22 of Logano.
Chastain doing a great job right on the rear bumper of the 22. Offset to the right just a little bit. That's the best place to push.
And he's pushed him right in front of the 4. Now will he go up and block the high line?
Again, out. That 2 car lengths happens every time the leader just clears those 2 cars. Let's see where the run comes from. Chastain with good help.
They're organized up top. The run's coming from the top, so he jumps up there. But now that bottom's it's like the runs are coming from both lines, and it's so hard to defend. This 22 just has to pick a line and hope he chose the right one. Because now Ross Chastain has brought his Chevrolet up to the inside, trying to take the lead away, Marty.
And Dale, I think we're hearing spotters talk about it more. You're seeing that tandem form up more here in stage 3. And like Steve mentioned earlier, it's a boost for a little bit, but you're seeing teams and drivers use it more intentionally now here at the end of the race.
One guy about 6 or 7 back on the top line. He's been riding most of the night. It looks like he's decided it's time to go. That's the one of Kurt Busch. Big announcement this week. He'll be joining 2311 Racing in their 2nd car. Drive the number 45. Michael Jordan's other number. He made the 23 famous. Well, Kurt's going to get to drive the 45. You see him back there about 5 or 6 on the outside. He's been cruising, Junior. It's going to be hard to just insert yourself into this craziness all of a sudden and try to figure it out in the last 50 laps.
It's possible to sit back in this field throughout the race and then find your way and work your way to the front. But when they're double file like this with 15, 20 laps to go, where do you go? How can you work yourself into a position to win this race? You have to race at the front of the field all night long to have that shot.
And that's the intention right now. These guys, they want to get the track position and keep it. If it goes green, eventually it might get drugged to the top and get single file. And if you weren't in this pack, you're never going to have a shot to be anywhere near the front.
Ross Chastain's a sitting duck right here off of turn 2. The 9 car is going to have a big run down the back straightaway off the nose of the 22. Here they come. They're going to make a move on this 42 right here. No, they're going to stay committed. And that's going to slow them down. Here comes the 12 of Blaney to the inside with help from Truex.
We haven't seen manufacturers working together, but again, if we have green flag pit stops, we might see them all come to pit road. We'll go NASCAR nonstop. Under 43 laps to go. The NASCAR Cup Series Coke Zero Sugar 400 from Daytona International Speedway. We saw the 12 have issues. The 19 have issues and drop back. Now the 48 with a huge run all the way up to the front. You saw it all. You didn't hear all of us going, wow, and oh, and ugh. That's what we were making, the noises we were making as those things were happening on your screen. And right now, it's Ross Chastain. Here's a driver looking to win his way into the playoffs up front. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., a shot at winning his way into the playoffs. Dave.
Rick, that's right. The 42 black and green car there leading this race out of the playoff picture 21st on the playoff grid, minus 185 points. No way to make those up tonight. He has to win. His crew chief, Phil Surgeon, is so happy with what he's done this year. Preserve the race car. Both Daytona and Talladega ended with a crashed race car, but guess when that happened? The very final lap. Ross had preserved it and was going for it. He's going to do that here again tonight, Marty.
Dave, we talked about the impressive run for Alex Bowman after the spin, sitting here in second position, and he's done a little bit of that run without the help of his spotter, Kevin Hamlin. Listen.
Greg, you're going in and out.
Like 2 words, now you're gone again.
Switch to 2 on the back.
Channel 2 or radio 2.
How about now, Alex? You got me?
Yep, I got this.
Greg, if you ever stop hearing me again, let me know. I'm not listening to myself now, so if I'm not transmitting, I don't know. Still lined up inside. I got 2 running now.
And Jeff, that was about 6 laps without a spotter, Kevin Hamlin. They were trying to figure out radio 2, channel 2, what to do. He finally has his spotter back. That would not be a fun situation for a driver at Daytona.
Not at all. These drivers and crew chiefs and spotters work so much together during the week, listening to audio, watching tape. They have a plan coming into this race, and you lose all that. And this is the place more than anywhere else that you use that spotter to help you actually drive that race car.
The outside line was organized, but now this inside starting to make some moves with Ryan Blaney. 42 goes down the block at Ross Chastain. That gives the 48 of Bowman a chance on this outside. He's got some help from Kyle Busch. They're hooked up on the inside here now. Blaney trying to push that 42 clear. Now Blaney's going to side draft this 48. 42 back in front of the 48.
I love what Blaney did in the corners there. He got offset to the right side of the 42 rather than the left side. That enabled him to push in without spinning him out.
Brandon McReynolds is the spotter for Ross Chastain, son of Larry McReynolds. And so he's calling the shots for that 42 of Ross Chastain, and now the 12. Once again, Ryan Blaney aggressively working his way back up to the front.
That inside line doing some great work right here with Ryan Blaney. Look at the 4 car, though, to the outside of Ryan Blaney. But his buddy, Bubba Wallace, says, I'm going to stick with you. Off of turn 2, Bubba pushing the 12 car.
Here comes
Alex
Chase
Bowman.
Elliott. Here comes Alex Bowman pushing Harvick. Chastain with a big block on the bottom. Look at the momentum for Harvick.
Chase to the middle now.
And that killed Harvick's run on the outside. Took all the energy away.
Big push. The 42 of Ross Chastain. He's 3 car lengths in front of second right now.
Look at this outside line. Kyle Busch is hooked up with Alex Bowman. Tons of speed down the front stretch.
They'll continue this push off into turn 1, continuing to climb up to the ranks on that outside line. Now the bottom's reorganized again. Blaney back to the back bumper, the 42.
It's 38 to go, guys. They cannot keep this up for 38 laps.
All right, guys. I want to know.
Bubba Wallace to the outside of the 4 car.
The 4 car has his hand out the window. Kevin Harvick, left hand out the window. I don't know if the Fords are coming to pit road
Fords
this
are
time.
coming, Steve. Here they come.
There you go. Green flag pit stop's underway. It starts with the Fords. Kevin Harvick was waving. Now you got to get down to speed, not lock up any tires, not hit anyone. I expect to see gas only on these stops, Dave.
Oh, Steve, I was saying the same thing, and they all keep it together. Joey Logano does, Kevin Harvick does, and it will be fuel only up and down the line here.
They don't want to flat spot any tires, so they don't want to skid here.
Rick, we wanted to know when the manufacturers would start the games. Well, they didn't want to do it early on because they didn't know what the fuel mileage would be, but this was a plan for the Fords to pit together in stage 3. They pull it off. It looks like flawlessly. Didn't see any tire sliding. Chevys and Toyotas still on the track. The Fords have already pitted for the last time.
So now the question is, when will the next wave come? The issue are the Fords have pitted, and they're back on the racetrack. So if the caution comes out, all these cars have to pit. This is the lead pack. Bubba Wallace leading the race as he changes lanes dramatically in front of the 48 of Bowman.
Bowman goes down to side draft. And here comes the 42 once again. Big run for Ross Chastain.
It looks like all the Chevrolets are getting down in this bottom line, maybe thinking to come to pit road this time, Steve.
I agree, Dale. I just think you can't wait. Right now, if the caution comes out, you've given all of the Fords track position. I think just like in a boxing match, punch, counter punch. Right now, I think the next manufacturer has to make a decision, and I agree with your assessment. I see a lot of bow ties around the bottom.
Will this be the time? Are they coming?
Amazingly not, staying on the racetrack. So they're not going to let the Fords change their plan. They have a plan. They're sticking with it.
So far, no talk, Steve, about the Chevys coming to pit road. Chase Elliott said, we're never going to get everybody in single line. So his point was, let's just come down pit road now. We have enough Chevys on the bottom. Let's make our move.
All right, guys, want to take a look at the keys to victory lane. Brought to you by Ruoff Mortgage.
Well, I just said it was 30-some laps to go, and there's no way they can race like that whole time. Will we see the big one to keep racing like this? Yes, we will.
And the green flag pit stops. The cycle just started with the Fords. When will the other manufacturers come to pit road?
15 drivers, 1 spot left in the playoffs. Will it be on points, or will we have a new winner?
And right now you've got 2 guys very hungry to get a win in Bubba Wallace and Ross Chastain. They're the top 2 here at Daytona. You're not going to miss a thing as we're going to go NASCAR nonstop. They are fighting for the lead. Down on the high banks here, aerial coverage brought to you by Geico. You see 2 and 3 wide here at Daytona. The Chevys and Toyotas, they have yet to come to pit road, but the Fords have, and they're not running as quickly as this big pack is running.
So the momentum that this pack has them running low 47s, 47 1s, 47 2s and 3s, and the Fords are running 4s and 5s.
Yeah, so basically, this pack at the bottom, Junior, very organized, but they have what, 8 cars, 9 cars? So the fastest they can seem to run is about a 47.5. They're giving up 3 to 4 tenths of a second per lap to the leaders. That would tell me the leaders can pit and cycle out in front of the Fords. The only real risk is a yellow, because I don't think the Fords would pit, Jeff.
Well, when you mentioned a yellow, where is that most likely to happen? In this mess right here. So all these Chevys and Toyotas, if there is a wreck, that's probably where it's going to happen, and that can knock you out of the race. These Fords are all single file, much safer where they are.
I mean, you see right here, the top speed on those Fords on the backstretch, about 187, 188. Now at the top of the screen, let's take a look at this big pack. They're going to come off from turn 2, down the backstretch. I bet we're going to see 190 or something out of Bubba Wallace down here with more energy, more cars, although right now he's losing a little bit from the lead.
And perspective, the big pack is catching the little pack. They are now entering turn 3. The little pack just entering the tri-oval right now. So that's where these two packs are.
Well, they got to stay organized. They got to do a little bit better job, this lead pack, because that last time by, they were not faster. They were a little slower. So when they get to racing each other a little bit too much, it sort of nets out. There's no gain.
It's hard because that big lead pack has Chevrolets, it has Toyotas. You know, this pack over here on the backstretch, just a great view right there from up in the sky. You see where they're at.
Steve, one small thing that happened in that exchange, that 21 car, we know he has to win the race, Matt DiBenedetto, they pitted 2 laps later under caution. So when they came on pit road, they were in the back, but they didn't have to spend as much time on pit road putting fuel in it. They picked up 5 or 6 spots within that Ford line.
Now the Fords are catching the draft off of some other cars on the racetrack. It should help their lap times. Absolutely. So they run 47 3s, 47 2s in those Fords as they catch the lap traffic, Parker.
All right, guys, and we watch this lead pack here of Chevys and Toyotas. I think the question mark becomes, what do the Toyotas do? You know, the Chevys have sort of strength in numbers compared to them. The Fords have strength in numbers. We've seen the Toyotas hit with Chevys before. We've also seen them do their own thing. And if you look up on that top lane, you have a couple of them there in a row. 4 of those Toyotas led by Bubba Wallace. So what do the Toyotas do, and do they maybe even see doing something different than the Chevys, or try to follow them when the Chevys decide to pit?
See those Fords knifing through this lap traffic. That gives them a little bit of a boost, a little bit of a draft for momentarily. At least a lap or two. They may beat and outrun this pack on the racetrack of Chevys and Toyotas. They run 47 flat there, gain about 3 or 4 tenths, Marty.
And that's what the Chevy teams are keeping an eye on, especially the Hendrick Motorsports teams. Alex Bowman sitting there in that purple 48 car. Chase Elliott right behind him. Chase kind of wanted to pit earlier, and Alan Gustafson said, we're watching it. We're watching the lap time. They know they were catching the Ford. But Chase brought up a very interesting point a moment ago. He said, the longer we run, I feel like we're losing the handling a little bit. They're planning on fuel only, so you got to wonder if tires are going to be a factor here at the end of this race, and if somebody might try for 2 on this final stop.
The risk of taking 2 tires is where you can have any sort of issue and lose the pack. And to answer Parker's question on the Toyotas, Parker, if I'm in a Toyota and I see Chevrolet hands out the window, I'm coming that lap. I want to come with numbers, as many as I can get.
Well, the other danger is when you pit is not having a good pit stop, losing the draft. That's what you saw right there with the 2 and the 14. They could not hang on to that Ford pack. Those Chevys and Toyotas just caught them and drove right by them.
Want to take a look at tonight's Xfinity fastest lap, and it's Denny Hamlin who has posted the fastest lap so far tonight, 193.819 miles per hour. And that was on lap 126.
Double value. Obviously, it proves he has a fast car still, even with damage, but it's going to help him for his starting position next week if they line up using the matrix to figure out how they're going to do it. So,
and we did see the 2 and the 14, so Keselowski and Briscoe went a lap down. So this big pack has caught those 2 and pushed them back a lap. And so now there are 6 cars that are on the racetrack that are not on the lead lap. We said fuel mileage, Steve, was around 40 to 44 laps.
Yeah, so they were last on pit road at lap 102. Say they can go, we'll call it conservative, 42 laps. That means they're going to be on pit road in 7 or 8 laps.
Remember, guys, how many times do we see wrecks getting on pit road? Daytona, Talladega, so many cars trying to come on pit road at the same time. Not unusual at all. Drivers got to really be mindful of that.
The Fords did a great job of orchestrating, coming to pit road, working together, getting on pit road and getting back off of pit road, all doing the same thing. Now, the Toyotas, the Chevys, they've got to figure out that same smoothness of getting onto pit road at almost 193 miles an hour is what we saw out of Denny Hamlin. So while they are still working their way around the track, we're going to go NASCAR nonstop. Won't miss a thing. 21 laps to go. Look at the run by the 18 of Kyle Busch, now leading the Toyotas as he is up front, and the 4 Toyotas have pulled away, and we can include Landon Castle in that in the 96.
Yeah, Landon's having a great run tonight, back in the Cup Series for 1 or 2 more races this year in that 96 car anomaly car. Put a little deal together to stay out here and have some fun. Dave.
And the order was different when we went to NASCAR nonstop. Hello, Landon. As you saw Bubba Wallace in the lead and then drop down with Kyle Busch going by. Bubba was told by his spotter, Freddie Kraft, hey, you can drag the 4 Toyotas down. They're all clear. So Bubba went to the bottom. Kyle did not follow. In turn, the 20 didn't. Also the 19. Oh, and there's a crash, Rick.
Wreck coming out of turn 4, and so now the caution has come out. The 53 involved. So Garrett Smithley, Joey Gase in the 15 caught up in this.
51 as well.
Cody Ware, yes.
These are all cars owned by Rick Ware Racing.
Yes, Rick Ware Racing just had a bad yellow.
Yeah, the field had just came by and put them a lap down.
And you wonder if they were trying to work their way to pit road and not slowing down at the same time. We'll take another look at what happened.
So back there at the top is Garrett Smithley. Looks like he's a little bit out of shape. Yep. Down the racetrack in front of his teammates. Joey Gase up the racetrack. Puts Cody in the fence. Just an unfortunate series of accidents there for all 3 of those Rick Ware Racing cars.
Yeah, right in front of his teammates, nowhere for them to go. As you said, they had just gotten lapped. They had just gotten passed by this big group. This is an advantage to the Ford, Steve. This is exactly what they wanted to see.
Yeah, unfortunately for Brad Keselowski, you pointed out he was lapped because he lost the draft. He'll be the free pass, which helps a little bit. But the Fords that pitted under green, I imagine they're all going to stay out right here, which will cycle them all to the front. The question I have now is the guys that didn't pit under green, the Chevrolets and the Toyotas. We had heard a little whispers about handling. Is it gas only? If you're in the mid-pack, do you put tires to try to at least give your driver a chance to do something different? Junior, you know, if I can be the first 2 or 3 cars off pit road, maybe gas only, but I know the Fords are staying out. So I'm more inclined now to give you at least 2 tires, give you a chance to push and shove to have some security around other cars.
Yeah, watching some of these cars dance around, the 9 car complaining about the balance of his car, I'm absolutely begging for 4 tires, knowing that the Fords are staying out, knowing that I'm going to be behind the 8 ball here. I don't want to be back that far in the field with just even 2 tires, and those used lefts on that left side is going to make that car very difficult to drive.
Yeah, remember at this racetrack, tires do matter. And Dale Jarrett and I had this great conversation earlier. He said, you know, when you put new tires on it, you don't have to turn the wheel as much. The car just goes around the corner so much easier. So that makes your car go faster. It doesn't require the resistance to get it to turn on old tires. So new tires make the car drive better and just make it go faster.
And with 19 laps to go, I don't believe this is going to be the last yellow. So I'm not panicked about time. I want to give you the best chance you have to be aggressive.
Now, that's the word, aggressive, Steve. So as we get into this final few laps, the aggression picks up. The side drafting gets more aggressive. The moves, driving the car across the racetrack to make moves, blocks, all those things have to be quicker, faster. The new tires are going to give you that advantage.
That excites the race fans and excites all the companies that sell parts, because they're going to have to sell a lot of them with all the wrecks we might see here.
So here comes the field. Dave.
Third place Truex was told not to slide him. That's usually an indication that they'll take less than 4, maybe none. Fuel only for him. The 18 of Kyle Busch, code yellow. That means he'll get fuel. Tear off there, Parker.
Chris Ravel's team debated whether just a few fuel only or take right sides. He said, give me those tires, but I can have them, so it's going to be right side tires for the 20, Marty.
Boy, Parker, the guys in the booth nailed it. Chase Elliott going to go with 4 fresh Goodyear tires here. Alan Gustafson said, we're going to be back about 18th or 20th. Tires will give me the best shot. You see all those guys fuel only. Bell with right side tires, but Chase Elliott, that's going to be the story at the end of the race, Rick. He's got 4 fresh ones.
Larson doing the same thing. We saw his crew changing 4 tires. So a lot of drivers on old tires get back out on the track. fighting for that last spot in the playoffs. Austin Dillon, pit road penalty. Too fast entering. Parker.
And that is not the only problem for the 3 team here of Austin Dillon. He came on the radio citing an electrical issue. The team then debated coming down pit road and changing the battery. Then they looked at the laps left and decided you got to stick it out. 17 laps to go. Let's see if it lasts. This is good. You know, this team put it all on the line to try and get in the playoffs, guys, here with this electrical issue.
All right, Steve, electrical issue. Are we talking fans now? What do we limit so that we see if we can make it all the way to the end?
Everything for driver comfort, everything for cooling, anything. On the left-hand side, you see basically last pit and tires, a bunch of zeros all the way. You have to go all the way down to Christopher Bell in 16th, Eric Jones in 20th. Behind him, Chase Elliott with 4 tires. The top 20 on old tires when it matters the most. Junior, this has me a little nervous. My Whoop band will be spiking right now. This is not good right here.
I don't understand why all those cars stayed out for forever and then put tires on. That doesn't make sense to me.
Didn't put tires on. And coming up on 16 to go. Logano on the outside, Blaney on the inside.
A little bit of team orders, I believe, on this restart to let the 22 down in front of the 12. Both Penske cars working together on this restart to control the front of this field.
Ross Chastain, first one to make it 3 wide on the outside. Kevin Harvick pulled up in front of him. Big run. Coming to the back of Matt DiBenedetto. He's going to have to block him.
DiBenedetto in the 21 on the high side. Can he make his way to the front, get a win? He's fighting for a job. He's out of that ride at the end of this season.
Cole Custer in that 41 car pulled up in front of Matty D. There's Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch first off of pit road on this most recent caution and pit cycle.
And Corey LaJoie, he's been pushing the issue tonight. He got the green light from his team. Full power tonight. He has been trying to make it work. Marty.
First time Matty D's been in the top 6 all night long, and Harvick tries to make a move underneath him. You gotta wonder, Jeff, if Matty D knows enough about the momentum of the pack and the energy of the pack. Again, he's been in the back all evening long. Now he's trying to go up there and win the race.
The front 5.
Oh, there's a big crash.
19, Martin Truex Jr. He got into the side of the 24. William Byron's in it. Landon Castle also collected up.
I was so concerned about the used tires. That actually happened in the back third. Oh, Tyler Reddick.
Tyler Reddick.
Smoke out of the back of Tyler Reddick. Huge implications for the playoffs.
Look at the nose.
You got to imagine that smoke right there.
The smoke. It smells like oil smoke. I don't know. Do you want me to keep going?
Damage to the front.
Bring it to me. Bring it to me.
Tyler Reddick, he was in the 16th spot. That final transfer spot on points. Now, Austin Dillon, who has battery issues, potentially, he has issues too. He's still fighting for that 16th spot.
They're going to raise the hood on this 8 car, try to diagnose the issues.
Damage in the front, you have to think perhaps oil cooler, radiator, like something has moved.
Team hoping that there's a way for them to bypass whatever is broken.
Exactly right. Exactly right, Dale. Right, if it's a hole in the oil cooler, you know, bypass it.
Randall, pace start 2.
You're going to run way too warm, but at this point, your playoff hopes are on the line. Maybe you'll get lucky. There'll be another accident. You gain a few more spots. Anything to stay on the racetrack.
Take a look at what happened.
Truex gets turned. It gets a little bit of a bump in the right rear from the 47 car, and that turns him into the outside wall hard. Collected William Byron.
Landon Castle was having a good night. He got into it.
Anthony Alfredo is involved, the 14. Also, Chase Briscoe got caught up.
There's the contact. Just so subtle of Reddick to get in the back of the 19 there. This is on the roof of the Stenhouse car.
11's coming to you tight. Clear bottom lane, clear bottom lane.
Something happened in front of them. Something happened in front of Truex. He checked up. Stenhouse didn't get checked up. It got into the back of him.
Let's see here.
Right there.
Yep.
That's what started it.
I think that the 42 was trying to get back behind Harvick. Lifted a little bit. The 18 of Kyle Busch gets in the back of him. That starts that chain reaction we've already seen once tonight. Here's Austin Dillon.
Outside, 3 middle here.
See how he works himself through here.
Easy, stay low as you can. Stay middle,
Ooh.
watch him, easy, stay right there. All good, keep coming.
Great patience by Austin. He has nothing to lose. Keep this car in one piece.
And what he sees his teammate right there with the smoke coming out of the back of it.
14 to go, and so much cleanup that is going to be needed on the backstretch. They're going to put this one under red flag so they can clean it up, and we can have as much green flag racing as possible. But once again, the 8 of Tyler Reddick back on pit road. Well, he's coming off of pit road. He's on the apron now, but Steve, is he under the damaged vehicle policy now?
Absolutely. He was in the accident, so he only had 6 minutes. And you see the smoke still billowing out. Hopefully he stays on the...
All the pressures. I don't know what the smoke's from.
I thought he said something about oil.
I think it's just burning off, Derek. I think it's just burning off.
All right, so they feel like that this is the oil that's leaked. Perhaps, to your point, Junior, maybe they bypassed the oil cooler or something. The smoke's definitely going away slowly but surely. We'll see. Hopefully he stays on the flat of the racetrack in case it is still putting out fluid.
So we saw that last replay, and it gave us, I think, the best vantage point to understand exactly what the 42 Ross Chastain is trying to do here. So I think he just doesn't have a run. Really, the run comes from behind him so quickly, and with the big spoilers that these cars have, the guy that's third, fourth, fifth in line, they can't tell when they need to lift. You know, when Kyle comes up on the 42 and gets right up behind him, he's got to lift off the gas, and nobody behind him really can see
down.
that happen.
Watch him keep coming across, check up.
They just drive through each other.
Just watch the 24.
Now, again, under red flag condition, stopped on the track. A lot of cleanup still needs to be done. 12 points separate Tyler Reddick and Austin Dillon as they run on the racetrack. But can the 8 continue? He pulls down onto the apron. The red flag has come out here at Daytona with only 13 laps to go to end the regular season and only one spot still available to get into the playoffs. It's still up for grabs here at Daytona. Next week, playoffs begin for the Cup Series at the track that's too tough to tame. That's right, Darlington Raceway. Race coverage beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. 2 historic racetracks back-to-back, Daytona and then Darlington, where things will get kicked off for the 2021 playoffs. And involved in the crash, on lap 146, you see the 24 of William Byron heading back into the garage area. But numerous cars here. Chase Briscoe, Martin Truex Jr., Anthony Alfredo, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So many that are fighting for a spot in the playoffs. Let's check in with Peacock Pit Box. Kelly, DJ, and Brad, what do you guys think? 13 to go.
I think that we could kind of all sense this one coming. I mean, the racing has been so intense, really from the drop of the green flag. Sure. But did you know it was just a matter of time, DJ?
Yeah, you knew once that everybody had got on pit road and everything formed back up that this was inevitable, that somebody was going to make a mistake at some point in time, not be able to catch it. What incredible, intense racing we've seen all night long. And unfortunately, we're probably going to see some more hard pushing and shoving as the laps wind down, and drivers that are trying to get that win to get themselves into the playoffs. Plus other guys like, Joey Logano told us during pre-race that there was a lot for him to still be gaining playoff points that would take you all the way through the playoffs if he could gather those. So, and anytime you can win, doesn't matter who you are and what you're fighting for here.
That's exactly right. And I think the big question is going to be when this race is over, when the Toyotas and the Chevrolets pitted, why didn't more people take tires? Because there's going to be multiple cautions. It's going to happen, and that brings the game back to you. Right now, there's still some sitting ducks that didn't take tires. They're going to get run over with these fresh tires.
So you think that we had a couple takers with 2 tires. Yeah. We had a bunch with 4 tires.
I think 4 tires is going to plan out. I think there's going to be multiple cautions. So I think you needed to be looking a little further ahead instead of trying to get that track position after that pit stop. I think it's going to play into the hands of the tires.
And how about the highs and lows of this race with that final playoff spot on the line? First it was Austin Dillon, who looked like his shot was maybe over. He has a penalty on pit road. We hear he has an electrical issue. And then he watches his teammate that he's competing for that final spot essentially go up in smoke. But Tyler Reddick trying to get back out there. We'll see if he's going to be able to complete this. Yeah, we see him sitting there on the apron as we're under the red flag condition. How much damage has this done to the engine there, and have they fixed the problem? That's going to be the whole key. And plus, can Austin Dillon continue with the electrical issues? I'm sure they will probably come to pit road and at least try to put a battery in and see, if they can help Austin make sure that he can finish this race with this opportunity that may be right there in front of him. Just so many twists and turns, and we're far from over it. I'm not even sure that we have seen exactly what we'll all be talking about tomorrow morning yet.
Not at all.
No, and those cars stopped under this red flag, including the 8 of Tyler Reddick, and Dave has an update.
Oh, Kelly, nervous times for Tyler Reddick. Remember, he was on pit road. The crew went to work under the hood. When he went back out on the track, the car was still smoking. So the team believes that the work that they did prevented further damage. And Tyler said oil pressure, fuel pressure, and water pressure are good. Where's the smoke coming from? They believe it was just from the oil that was scattered when a line or something was broken. So, Steve, what kind of work could they have done under there to make this car raceable, even with all the oil that was lost?
Well, Dave, there's a couple options. You can bypass, no longer run oil through, say, the oil filter, the oil cooler. There's some other issues, but unfortunately, as I sit right here and look, you look in that area right there, there's definitely some fluid. So unless it puddled on the radiator pan and the splitter, and even on the banking, there's probably a little bit of even on the apron, there's a little bit of banking, maybe it's running out to the left. It's either still leaking, or this is helping get rid of that residual oil. But basically, you just bypass parts of your oil system, as crazy as it sounds. You couldn't do it with 200 to go or 150 to go, but with 13 to go and perhaps more yellow flags, you can limp around and try to get as many spots as you can.
Steve, could that be water? Could we be seeing water come out there up front?
It could be anything under the sun. Water, oil, power steering fluid. I mean, that's the issue when you have a damaged car like that, Marty.
See the recovery of the night, Eric Almirola, who sits in third. Yes, the same guy who was wrecked earlier, Mike Bugaravich. How in the world have you guys recovered from that wreck and the damage you have to be sitting in third right now?
Yeah, I mean, our Smithfield pit boss Ford's been fast all day. We just got, unfortunately, in that accordion effect back there, got run into, got a little bit of damage, but the guys here all worked their butts off to get it patched up pretty good. It didn't really seem like we lost any speed, so kind of got on a strategy that got us up toward the front now, and now we got an opportunity. It's all we can ask for.
How worried are you? You guys you didn't take any tires, just fuel only on the last stop. There are tires behind you. How concerned are you about that?
Not really too concerned. I mean, I knew if we pitted there and took the tires, we were going to give up all our track position. So, you know, I think it was a gamble worth taking. You know, the first guy when we originally came out that had tires started in 20th, but I see now he's up to 10th already. So we'll see how this works out.
That guy would be Chase Elliott, but an A+ for Bugga and this entire team. I mean, Eric Almirola, Rick, was wrecked. I mean, they had to fix this car up. He's sitting in 3rd now.
Yeah, thanks, Marty. And that would be a great story there if Eric Almirola could come back and have a great finish after what he had to go through. All right, so while we're under red flag condition, we've got permission to chat with Joey Logano, race leader. Junior, can you dial him up on the radio?
Hey, Joey Logano, it's Dale Jr. in the booth. You got me?
Got you loud and clear.
Man, it has been intense out there tonight. I do not remember it being like that when I drove. Is it more intense than you can remember?
Yeah, it's about as intense as it has been. These cars, just a big spoiler on them, and you can pop the bubbles, get right to each other, push. Really, the rule change hasn't really affected that piece of it at all. So, a lot of pushing at 7. You know, that's about to get even more intense here as the laps wind down. Good news is we got some clean air on the old Shell Pencil Mustang. I got my teammate right there behind me. I got some Fords around me. I'm in the best position I can ever ask for, but I also will say I've been here before and seen it in different ways, so we just got to get through our laps and hopefully keep it up here and get a win.
Well, we know that you have a new spotter. You're working with Coleman Presley, who is a great friend of yours, and we've been listening to Coleman throughout the night, and he's gave you some great information. How do you feel about that pairing so far?
So far, I can't say too much because I know he's listening. He'll be getting a big head, but so far he's doing a fantastic job. Getting that stage one was nice, and you know, learning his lingo about the information of the cars behind me. It took a couple laps, but I feel like we spent a lot of time together beforehand and trying to get all that as figured out as possible. And I feel like it's been pretty seamless. For those reasons, like you said, having a relationship like that and knowing each other so well kind of helps bridge that gap a lot.
Red flags like this, I never really liked them late in the race. I was ready to get this thing over with, whether I was leading or whatever, but how do you feel about a red flag? Does it kind of give you a chance to reset or put a plan together?
Things are going well, and then the pace car driver showed me some snacks from in front of me. He made me hungry. But outside of that, it's just hot. You know how it is. You start baking in these things and the red flag comes out. But I think we got a plan for when the restart happens. And that's about all you can plan for these days. You can plan for probably until it gets to top gear, and after that, there's so many different variables, different things that can happen. We'll just have to react.
Well, we know you are busy trying to put that plan together. We really thank you for giving us a chance to talk to you. The fans really appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Enjoy it. It's going to get crazy.
Going to get crazy. All right, let's flash back.
Well, Joey Logano said it, and I hate to relive it. Luckily, he can't see it from where he's sitting, but he said he has a little clean air with a teammate behind. Well, it was the same case back in February, last lap, the Daytona 500. Joey Logano tries to get passed by the two of Brad Keselowski and creates this huge fireball of an accident. This is on board Bubba Wallace. Look at this right here. Unbelievable accident. And this was scary right here. The two got up into the catch fence. Luckily, all was okay, but that was the last lap coming to the checkered in the Great American Race. So as soon as he said, I've been here before, this is exactly what I pictured. I said, you have. It was about 5 or 6 months ago, same track. So we've seen it before here, and with 13 to go, this is far, far, far from over.
I think he was looking at it from a more optimistic point of view, Steve.
Hey,
you went the wrong direction.
No, listen, I have sat on the pit box for so many of the finishes of these races thinking you've done everything right. And watch your driver do everything right. And it's still not work out, right? Like you just get caught up in something, and there's so many more times. You leave here so many more times filled with disappointment.
One thing a race driver doesn't want to do is be interviewed before the end of the race. And we're sorry, but William Byron is currently out of this race, and Dave caught up with him.
Yeah, Rick, and I don't take that personally. It's just part of the job. William was doing most things right tonight, I assume, until all that happened. What'd you see?
Yeah, it looks like I was just one row short of getting through it. I was basically with the 9 and the 19 came up the track, you know, all of a sudden. And let's see here. Yeah, just got off center and got loose. The 19 did, and yep. So we were the meat and the sandwich there. So that's just how it goes sometimes. I thought we were having an okay night. We were third in stage 2, got some stage points, and then just trying to get back to the front and just know where to go. So we'll go into Darlington and get ready for the playoffs.
The racing was a little bit different tonight. What was the feeling behind the wheel and in the pack?
Yeah, the lanes were really tight, so there wasn't a lot of room to make a gap or to you know, you just kind of basically got pushed into the next guy in front of you. So it's kind of like bumper cars out there, and just bumper car your way to the front, and then hope you can kind of control the lane. And we were able to control the lane early, and then you know, we never really got the right position to do so again. But yeah, just kind of bumper cars out there. So.
All right, more so than usual? I mean,
yeah, I think so. Okay. More so than usual, just because I don't know exactly why. I don't know if it was the less horsepower or the wicker off the back, but seemed like you could never kind of get separation and get pushed out, so you're just kind of always being pushed back to the guy behind you. So I think there was a whole lap, or half a lap, I pushed the 3 car, and so it was just all a strategy to try to put yourself in the right spot.
Okay, with this in the rearview mirror, you ready for the playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited. You know, we finished 4th at Darlington in the spring, and I feel like we'll have a good car there. So excited for the first round.
All right, we'll see how it goes for William next week. Unfortunately, out as you see Tyler Reddick now limping that 8 car to pit road, guys.
From red to yellow, and now they're going to try to go to work on this 8.
Yeah, from what I see rags and some brake cleaners. So they feel that they have whatever created the oil, right? Whatever was leaking, whatever allowed the oil to kind of coat the under hood of this car. They seem to be very confident they have that repaired, because there's no chance here of trying to repair everything. It's just cleaning it up there, Parker.
Right, let's get an update from his teammate there, the 3 of Austin Dillon, who also has been fighting that electrical issue. He came on the radio throughout the red flag, updating the team where the voltage was at. It was at 12.5 with everything off, meaning all the fans, all the driver cooling aids. The team is debating whether to come down and change that battery. It sounds like they're leaning towards changing the battery there so that the car doesn't shut off as we get in these waning laps. Although Justin Alexander, the crew chief, did not want to give up the track position, they also know there's a lot more at stake here, most likely coming down to change this battery and make sure it has the power to get to the end of the race.
All right, if you're at home and you want to know what that is, that's what a Cup Series battery looks like. Nothing you'll ever see that goes in your car. They're basically created inside the shop. It's their own case. It has nothing to do with anything you'd be able to buy. The handle that the gentleman's holding is a quick release. Your nerves here, this is something you practice. You assume everything's going to go right. You pull that first battery out, the car has 0 power. And if that second one doesn't go in, you have some sort of issue on the exchange. But I do love the plan of putting a fresh battery in to make sure you can finish this race.
Through the left rear?
Yeah, take the left rear tire off. Yeah, absolutely.
And make sure to stick with us on NBCSN for the post-race show, NASCAR America post-race show. We'll give you all of the the playoff contenders, what's going to happen, what happened in this race, what's going to happen as we head to Darlington next week. That'll all be on NASCAR America on NBCSN after the race.
You know, whatever we don't cover in the post-race show, or even the stuff we do, then we're going to talk about on NASCAR Motor Miles on Monday.
Monday and Wednesday, that's right. And again, we followed along all day with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We're seeing some cars make their way onto pit road now, including riding along with Austin Dillon. They're going to change that battery.
So you hear the engine running, goes in. I assume he's going to shut this off. The car should go quiet. They're going to go in, jack up the left side, pull the left rear tire off, pull the first battery out. So let's take a look here. Yep, that's what they're going to do. Shut it off. Good instruction. Justin Alexander on top of the pit box. So now the trick here, Rick, is to just take a deep breath. Don't mess up the battery cover. So there's the cover that's come off. That protects the battery. First battery out. Very well done. That's a spacer, probably a foam block of some sort. Second battery going to go in. You don't want to bend. There's a quick disconnect, kind of 2 pins, a positive and a negative. They're like a receiver. You just don't want to misalign them, bend one of those over. Now you have an issue with the car. That would be catastrophic. Seems like it went in okay. Looks like they're putting the cover back on right now.
See, this racetrack being so big, it gives them way more time than it would if we were in a short track. Huge advantage.
Now when I'm the crew chief, I'm feeling good that we're putting the tire back on, but I want to hear some fire. I want to hear that this car can absolutely crank. Let's see right here. There you go. That would make me feel a lot better for
All right, we
Justin
are good to go.
Alexander.
Under 12 laps to go. Austin Dillon fighting for a shot in the playoffs. Tyler Reddick, who was involved in the accident. We saw a lot of smoke coming out from underneath the 8. Right now, he has the final spot in the
Gauges still look
playoffs.
good. I've got no issues with the gauges at all.
As they're running, 10 points separate these two for a shot at the championship.
And if this 8 team of Tyler Reddick is fortunate enough to advance into the playoffs, bravo to whatever work they did, right? We saw the smoke, so they obviously had some sort of issue. The preparedness of this team to diagnose, repair, and clean this car up, tape it up to get back on the racetrack.
Still a little bit of smoke. Are you nervous about that?
Oh, I'm nervous anytime it smokes. It really comes down to what the team did. You know, like I said, it seemed like they were doing a lot of cleaning, but I can assure you NASCAR is going to take a good look at this car and make sure that it's not continuing to leak.
Marty.
Hey, Rick, of the top 10 right now, there are 5 drivers who could win this race and make their way into the playoffs. The furthest forward of those, Chris Buescher. When we talked earlier this week, Chris told me time and time again, I have put myself in position to win a super speedway race. What I have not done is been willing to make the aggressive block at the end of these races. He said, when I grew up racing, blocking was a bad thing, but I know I have to change that tonight. The playoff sitting right in front of Chris Buescher. Can he get it done in these final few laps?
As we look at this field and how they're lining up, we see the 22 car, Joe Logano choosing that outside line. We know his teammate on the bottom, Ryan Blaney, a Penske driver as well, is going to allow this 22 probably to drop down in front of him. As soon as they take the green flag, Jeff, they're going to try to organize early into turn 1 and separate themselves from this pack. A lot of Fords, though, up front. There was top 6 cars, all Fords, using that strategy to stay out on the racetrack when the caution came out earlier in the race.
Yeah, those Chevrolets, Toyotas that were behind him, Matty D sitting there in 6th. Behind him is a row of Chevrolets and Toyotas, so they've caught back up to them. There's going to be a lot of momentum coming from behind.
And still don't discredit the 4 tires that some of these guys have. The 9 car of Chase Elliott has 4 tires. All the Hendrick cars have 4 tires. So that's going to be an advantage. I know it's late in this race. We've allowed these tires to cool down, but the wear on these tires still going to play out a little bit for those cars up front. The new tires in the back can be a little more aggressive with the steering wheel, making moves and being, trying to work their way toward that front and take the lead.
You mentioned it, Junior. Look at Chase Elliott all the way up to 10th with those fresh tires on the left-hand side of your screen. Then you have a stack of other cars farther back. We'll just see how it works out.
A 10-lap shootout. Blaney on the inside, Logano on the outside. 10 to go.
Great organization on the inside line here. All these guys bumper to bumper as they close in on the 22 car. The outside line a little separated. Kurt Busch to the middle. It's going to drop these guys back. They're forming no energy. Kurt's got some help from the 11 car of Denny Hamlin.
Big move there. Cole Custer in the 41 moves to the outside, gets in front of the 17. Smoke coming out of the 22 a little bit as he went down the backstretch.
All speedy dry, nothing to worry about.
Big push from Christopher Bell to Eric Almirola. That inside line has a ton of speed right now.
Still commanding the lead, Joey Logano across the stripe, 9 laps to go.
Eric Jones to the middle now in that 43 car for Richie Petty Motorsports. He dives to the inside of the 10 car. What does Chase Elliott do? Chase is going to stay with the 10. Chase with Denny Hamlin behind him. So the track bar mount. Yeah, the track bar mount on the 43 dragging just a little bit.
Eric Jones tried to slide up in front of Eric Almirola, just couldn't do it. Look at all the spots it's costing him. Kurt Busch making a move into the back of the 17 of Buescher.
Buescher trying to block. Goes to the bottom of the racetrack. He stays in front of the 1.
Chase Elliott to the outside of the 10 car now, shuffling Almirola back. Denny Hamlin still glued to the back of this 9 car. They come up to help Kurt Busch on this inside line, give him a little push.
Buescher trying to get the inside line to go. Chase Elliott has help from Denny Hamlin.
It seems like there's more speed in the outside line right now. Kurt Busch making a move. That's going to hurt the inside line again.
Chase is going to go to the outside of Kurt. Buescher with a block on the 9 car. Chase has to lift and let him in.
Kurt Busch will fall back on the inside. No help there.
Now Chase Elliott in the back of this 17 car. Chris Buescher down the back straightaway. They're going to try to make up a few spots here. Organized really well. Diving down into turn 3. They go to the inside of the 12 car Blaney. They've got a great run. Now they're separated a little bit.
Buescher in a must-win situation. The only way he makes it into the playoffs is if he wins this race.
He got way out in front of Chase Elliott. Let's see what Chase does.
He needs to get up in front of this 9 car, try to get Chase to help him again. They reorganize. They made some good ground here. They're back together. Going to dive down into turn 1 on the inside of the second place car as well. They should be driving right up the inside of the 22 now. Taking the lead, Chris Buescher with help from Chase Elliott. He gets loose. Chase is loose. Contact from all those bumpers right there. Good saves by all the drivers.
Now Elliott has pressure on the outside. Here comes Logano. Logano comes up, hits the back bumper of the 17. Buescher up front. Elliott starts to slide back.
That's a great job by Chris Buescher to make the right choice on what line to get in front of. He didn't want to bail on the 9. Chase had helped him to get there, but he had to. He jumps in front of that 22, and now he controls this race.
6 laps to go.
Buescher back down to the bottom, back to the top. Both lines coming in a hurry.
Gets a big shove there from the 22, but on the inside, the 9 of Chase Elliott. He's out front. Denny Hamlin pushing.
Now will Chase block the 17? He's going to have the momentum on the high side. No, Chase does not go up there and block Buescher. Buescher back clear into the lead.
Lots of shoving and pushing right here. 22 Logano, big run. Buescher tried to block it, couldn't do it. Now down trying to side draft.
Buescher just too slow.
Oh, that was close.
Big contact there from the 17 into the 48. 3 wide back here. 48 starts to fall back. The 9 of Chase Elliott up front, 5 laps to go.
That really hurt the inside line right there. Let's see if they can build that momentum back up. Matty D to the bottom.
Matt DiBenedetto racing for a win, to maybe save his career and to get into the playoffs.
Buescher's right back up there. He's in the back bumper of this 21 car. They're going to have some good momentum down the back straightaway. A little bit of smoke off of one of the cars up here in front. Maybe some tire rubs on that 22 car.
Yes, 22.
He's bottoming out. He's got a flat tire. He's
22
really loose.
into the wall. Hard into the wall that time. Trying to stay up out of the traffic.
3 more, 2.
Still no
Can
caution.
he get to pit road? Joey Logano from the lead will make it to pit road. We stay green, 4 laps to go.
Okay, so now let's see where the energy can come from. Matt DiBenedetto trying to go to the bottom. Teammate pushing him.
Big block right here. Matt throws it to the high side around Chase Elliott.
Crossover move. Matt DiBenedetto trying to get to the front, trying to get his first win in the Cup Series.
His teammate trying to help him, but he got put in the middle. Matty D went to the middle to try to get that help. Now a push coming from the outside.
Coming to 3 laps to go here.
Big run for Chase Elliott. He goes up top to try to block. The 21 tries to go by the 9. They make contact, the 9 into the wall. The 9 slides the 21 into the wall. He
Big
collects
crash.
them in a big crash happening.
So much blocking, so much shoving. It just can't last but so long.
A huge wreck.
And how many cars are left that aren't damaged?
With 3 laps to go, Chris Buescher is up front. A lot of damage to Kyle Busch.
Here we go. Lots of blocking. Just Chase Elliott moved up in front, and it just the wreck continues. And then now all these guys behind, just nowhere to go.
Denny trying to give Matt as much help as he can. And the 9 of Chase Elliott trying to keep Matt behind.
Who came out of that without damage? Ross Chastain, Corley Joy in 3rd.
Austin Dillon in 4th. Chris Buescher now leading this race.
The racing so intense. We knew that wrecks were going to happen. The blocks have to happen. If you want to win the race, these are the moves you have to make. Look on board with Denny. He's been calm around 100. Now he's up to 120. The heart rate going up. He knows this is the race for the win. The blocks, the wrecks. Unbelievable. He averaged 94 all day long. This is the highest we've seen, or just under the highest we've seen during this accident. The pushing and the shoving. Drivers, what you guys do consistently down here at Daytona, this race and every race, the moves you guys are willing to make to try to win.
Well, I'll be honest, I've never seen it like this before. And it is because of where this race now is placed in the season, being the cutoff race, having so many drivers here late in the race with a chance to win and make it into the playoffs, risking it all.
You see overtime at the upper left of your screen. 7th caution came out for this one, the big one, collecting quite a few.
And look at the names. I just can't get over it, right? Buscher just drove his way to the front. There was no strategy. There was no tricks. He went all the way to the front. Blaney's up there. Corey LaJoie, somehow the seas parted, and here comes this machine with a man's face on the hood, through into 3rd. Austin Dillon was just on pit road getting a battery swapped out. He's now in 4th. Chastain in 6th. I shouldn't skip Harvick. He hasn't won this year, but he's in the playoffs. Larson somehow still here. And then Daniel Suarez, Trackhouse Racing. A great year for a first team or first year team. I mean, Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman. It's I don't know why we're surprised, because this happens all the time at the Speedways, but it's shocking that it's the guys that have to win have found their way to the front, Parker.
And you mentioned Austin Dillon with a great recovery there from their voltage issue, but even though he avoided that wreck, went to the bottom and made up a ton of positions, his team told him this is what they have to do. Take a listen.
So the 8 has gained a lot of spots right there with us, so we're basically going to have to win.
That simple. The points are not enough. You got to get to victory lane is what they've told him, and he just came on the radio a little bit ago and said, I've got that voltage issue again. You talk about risking it all. This 3-car with that voltage issue up front knows he has to win this race if he wants to make it in the playoffs.
So 2 things. 1, I love the direct answer. Don't worry about points. You need to be thinking win. It's going to take a win. The concern with the voltage issue, guys, he has a fresh battery. So that tells me that the alternator or something is damaging the batteries, right? I don't think swapping it is going to continue, so something is amiss on this car.
Well, listen, you can't pit anyway. I mean, you got to win a race. If you feel like you got to win a race, you just got to hope that battery is strong enough to make it.
You know, when I look at the points, though, you know, we have Buscher leading, but if Buscher falls out, then it's only 4 or 5 points between. I mean, this is going to be a nail-biter to the finish, which is why I think just plan on winning.
Yeah, and guys that, if they win, they advance. Chris Buscher, Corey LaJoie, Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez, all running inside the top 8. Bubba Wallace in 10th. Here's 4 or 5 guys fighting for that win to make it into the playoffs.
Ryan Newman in 12th. Chase Briscoe, 14th.
What a day this would be for Roush, having announced today that Fifth Third Bank, the sponsor on that car, an extension for multiple years.
A long year extension. Love to see that from our sponsors.
Absolutely. Partners is great. We talk about wins. Well, here you go. Chris Buscher, it would put him in the playoffs. Ryan Blaney, it would give him a little momentum. Corey LaJoie, first career win. It would also send that 7-car into the playoffs. Austin Dillon would love to join the playoffs. Kevin Harvick, that's not a misprint. Yeah. Kevin Harvick, 0 wins this year. I would have lost the bank if somebody would have said, hey, you know, I'll bet you because it's going to win. For sure, Kevin Harvick's going to win. Winless. So he's in the playoffs, but would a win at Daytona just be the momentum? Just kind of shove him over the fence just to carry him off in there. Who knows? You wouldn't think that we'd be talking about momentum for a guy like Kevin Harvick, but it has been anything but a smooth year. And then Ross Chastain, it'd be a great send-off for Chip Ganassi Racing, right? Oh, yes. Not going to be around next year. They've been sold. He knows where he's going to drive, but it'll be questioned. You know, it'll be a great way to finish out the year for Chip Ganassi.
Trackhouse Racing for Ross Chastain in 2022. Again, after this race, make sure to join us on NASCAR America post-race show. That's on NBCSN. So once this race is concluded, there's a multiple-time winner here at Daytona, Denny Hamlin, with a lot of damage to the 11. They're working on that car. but this will be overtime. And make sure that, again, you join us for the post-race show on NBCSN right after the race. Parker.
Well, guys, let's catch up with the crew chief for Chris Buescher, Luke Lambert, here on the number 17 Roush Fenway Ford. You and I were talking before the race. You knew the objective. You knew what you had to do. Now you're in position. What do you tell Chris?
Well, we talked about, not holding back, right? That's what we're here for. And proud of everybody's efforts to get us here today. He's driven a really smart race to get us in this position. Now we just got to close the deal. And gonna have to be really aggressive to pull that off. Obviously, there's a lot on the table for everybody right here, but we're going to give it all we got. And I know Chris is the man that can make it happen.
What would it mean to this organization to get this car in the playoffs?
Well, it'd be huge, and it would definitely accomplish some of our goals that we really had set out for ourselves this year. And I would be very proud of everybody and all their efforts to get us here. So we got to close the deal right now, and I know Chris is capable of making that happen.
And guys, you got to think this team came in with this objective, and they're this close. See if they can seal it off.
Luke Lambert, his first job as a crew chief, was working with me. That guy is very aggressive, and he's going to punt up Chris Buescher. Think about Chris Buescher. He has 6 top 5s in his career. Half of those have come at this racetrack.
I have to wonder, too, with the previous restart, we had 2 Penske cars up there working together to put something, organize a plan of some sort to get them clear into turn 1, or just have some friends. Now what happens? These 2 Fords, the Buescher, Roush Ford, and Blaney and the Penske Ford, is there going to be any kind of manufacturer relationship that helps them work together on this restart?
And, Junior, you mentioned about the fifth third extension. I think about Roush Fenway Racing. Right? It's been announced Brad Keselowski's going to go over there and drive to try to help rebuild this organization. It's been 152 races. This is a powerhouse. I remember back in 2005 and 6, they put 5 cars in the playoffs. Jeff, you won multiple races here. This is an organization we are used to seeing win and win a lot, and they have found a dry spell. And, this would be huge for more than just Chris Buescher, more than just the 17 team, but for the whole organization.
A little further back, but not much further back. How about this guy right here? Corey LaJoie drives for an underfunded team. They came here tonight with full horsepower and said, go, man, you got the green light, go make something happen. Corey LaJoie is a guy that's won races driving for his own team in the K&N Series. He and his dad did a great job. Corey has been telling everybody, I can win races in the right equipment. Here he is tonight. This could be a career-changing moment for Corey LaJoie. Would be huge for his career. And by the way, happy birthday to Randy. That'd be a great birthday present for Randy for see his kid win this race.
Yeah, 6-0 for Randy. Big 60.
And Randy, an Xfinity Series champion, so obviously very proud of his son and the successes that he is having on the racetrack. All right, one of the drivers currently out of the race, the 2 of Brad Keselowski. Let's hear from him.
Yep, he's walked from the infield care center, Rick, and it looked to me, Brad, like you had seen an escape route there. What was going on?
Yeah, I was a foot from having a clear, Dave, and checked up a little bit. The 37 spun in front of me. I checked up for that and got hit from behind, so it's unfortunate, other foot, and we'd have been in a great position here to have a run to win the race, and instead we got caught up here. You can see the replay. I was doing great all the way till right here when the 37 started spin. I checked up and just barely got the quarter panel, so it's a bummer. We've been putting ourselves in position and trying to be smart and just missed it by a little bit.
Take us to next week, playoff start. How strong can the 2 be?
Yeah, I don't like our starting spot for next week, I can tell you that.
True.
But, Darlington's a super long race, so we'll see.
All right, we'll see him next week in the playoffs, guys. Brad's out for the night.
There's a metric that they use to do starting positions, and it's based upon points, and you have a reset of the top 16 in points. So the playoff drivers are going to be starting in the top 16 positions when we go to Darlington. It's just, where you're seated in that playoffs. As we see the playoff schedule, Darlington, Richmond, Bristol, and then 4 drivers are eliminated. The bottom 4 in points get eliminated after each cutoff race, which is Bristol, the Roval at Charlotte, and Martinsville.
Thought you were going to work us through the metric.
I'm not going to
do
the
percentages, give me the quick calculations.
Yeah, fast lap, which we saw Denny Hamlin post earlier today.
I know it's math, but I wait for the email. So, okay, this is the lineup. Thank you.
So now, overtime from Daytona to determine the final spot in the playoffs and maybe somebody's dream come true. The only win that Chris Buescher has in his racing resume is at Pocono. It was a rain-shortened, actually a fog-shortened race in Pocono. That's where Chris Buescher has his solo Cup Series win. To win at Daytona, how huge would that be for this driver?
Well, it would be gigantic, but I think it's unfair to only look at row 1 and row 2. We've seen wins from farther back. How about Bubba Wallace? How about Daniel Suarez back there in 8th and 9th? I mean, this would be huge. 23XI is a brand new organization. We keep saying, you know, Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, they're winners. They own a team. They want to see it win. Or how about, you know, you got Pitbull, who owns with Justin Marks in that Trackhouse Racing. They have put a ton of effort in here. They want to win. They bought Chip Ganassi Racing for next year. So the commitment is there.
Dave is with Kyle Busch.
Yep, Kyle won't have a chance to win tonight. Kyle, what did you see in that wreck?
Just a bunch of blocking going on, and guys got crossed up, and I don't know if anybody even touched me. I just lost it. So it was disappointing effort on my part, I guess. I got a little help there from the 47, but thought I had it straight, and then I didn't. And then I don't know who came out of nowhere, but just T-boned me. So that was right there. That was fun. I don't know. Just frustrating to come to these places and always wonder if you're going to walk out of here. So thanks to Interstate Batteries, Toyota, M&Ms, and see what we can do next week.
Glad you're okay. Playoffs start next week for Kyle Busch.
Steve Dale Jarrett was just texting me a question and asked, what about fuel on Chris Buescher? He's close.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, he was last on pit road at 123, so he's definitely over 40 laps. You assume he's saving it under the yellow, but it's always a concern that thing could stumble at just the wrong time.
Got to wonder he picked that outside line on this restart. They have some help from this 12 car. Will they allow that 17 to pull down in front of him? That's an interesting lane to take.
It's going to be 2 laps, overtime, presented by Credit One Bank. Chris Buescher fighting for a spot in the playoffs. Austin Dillon right behind him, pushing, also trying to get into the playoffs.
The inside line has a lot of organization. That's going to push that 12 clear. Well clear. Chris Buescher choosing that outside line. Will that come back to bite him?
How clear does it get? Will it be clear enough for help to come to Corey LaJoie so he can make a move?
3 cars were able to clear. So the 4 of Kevin Harvick, Corey LaJoie in the 7. Ryan Blaney now out in front of the pack. Here comes Buescher on the inside again, and more pushing and shoving on that outside line.
Corey LaJoie looked like he had an opportunity right there to hang a left.
Buescher to the inside now, but Corey LaJoie in the back bumper, the 12 car, Ryan Blaney down the front straightaway, clears Blaney. They're side by side. Blaney gets pushed way out. The organization's on the outside.
Chastain underneath Austin Dillon, putting him 3 wide in the middle.
Harvick in the back of the 7 car. They're going to have a big run.
Oh!
Corey LaJoie fakes to the inside, stays to the outside. He's getting shuffled back now. It's Blaney out front.
Suarez in the middle of this.
Harvick running second. A big shove coming from the middle. Daniel Suarez in the 99. He gets turned into the 4, and they go into the wall. The next flag will end the race.
By 5, caution out.
And there is the caution flag. Ryan Blaney wins. The big accident happens behind him.
Get done, boys. Way to get it done. Good, we had.
Ryan Blaney had cleared the pack by 4 car lengths, and then Suarez and Harvick, contact made. You see the 42, Ross Chastain involved. Kyle Larson is there. High centered is the 3 of Austin Dillon. He's not going anywhere. Corey LaJoie caught up in this. Tyler Reddick, because of the points that he has earned, will fill that 16th spot for the playoffs, but this is what happened on the backstretch.
Big run with Suarez, with Kurt Busch pushing him, and they just made contact. And
yeah, Suarez goes to the inside of the 4 car there to try to take that run that 1 car of Kurt Busch's gave him, and Kurt gets into the right rear quarter panel, turning the 99 into the 4. Kurt trying to get low with the 99. Just not able to get there, not able to help him. Turns him into the 4, and away they go.
Here it is right here. That was the move, and then, as you said, Kurt just trying to push him and gets him in the right rear. And Blaney, 2 in a row.
Blaney wins at Michigan last week and now at Daytona.
Pretty impressive, the 4-car spinning around so quickly, staying on the ground, not going airborne. Riding on board with Austin Dillon here.
Still 3-1 out front. Still 3, easy, stay low. Roll if you can.
As Ryan Blaney celebrates, so many drivers disappointed that their championship hopes have ended, but not Ryan Blaney. His definitely has momentum now. This is checkered flag moment brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. Waving to the crowd here at Daytona, a very impressive crowd on hand. And Blaney now with 3 wins. Last week in Michigan, it was stated that that's the first multiple win season he had put together, and now he adds to that.
Putting a nice little case together too as a solid, dependable super speedway late racer. Win Daytona, Talladega. Seems to be able to make great choices out on the racetrack throughout the event, put himself toward the front, stay out of that trouble we see so often.
As he celebrates, Marty Snyder right there with it.
Well, for years, Ryan Blaney had told me, I don't want to be a guy who wins 1 race a year. And he's done it in back-to-back weeks. How about that? And as he always does, picking a young fan out of the stands, looking for a Ryan Blaney fan. I believe he's found him. And he has sent the flag there as the fireworks start to go off at Daytona. How about that? That multiple win thing's kind of working out for you these days, isn't it?
Yeah, how about that? That was a lot of fun. And gosh, we just barely missed that wreck. And we got to line up on the front row and got a good push by the 7. And you never know how the end of these things are going to play out. Down the back, you don't know what lane's getting a bigger run, and I guess someone got tangled up over there. Hopefully everyone's okay. But man, it's so cool. Second win of the year with body armor on the car. Winning Daytona, this is so cool with everybody here. Thank you guys for coming. It's really special, and man, it's been a fun 2 weeks.
Yeah, how about that final restart that these fans here at Daytona were treated to? You and Busher dueling it out for that final spot.
Yeah, it's just, the biggest thing is just getting the push, right? Just trying to get a good push. And, Corey LaJoy gave me a good push. Two weeks in a row, I've gotten really good pushes on restarts, and they would have won the race, so thanks for that. But, no, it really all started with the 7, giving me a good push, get me out front, and then trying to hold off the 7 and Kevin and a couple other cars, 17. But awesome win for Body Armor, Menards, Advanced Auto Parts, Dex Imaging, Ford. Looking forward to next week.
What about next week? The momentum the 12 team now comes into the playoffs with back-to-back wins.
Yeah, got good momentum. Be nice to make it 3 in a row. We'll see.
Ryan Blaney gets his first Daytona win, and I would say, Rick, an opportune time to make it happen. The Daytona fans, they love it.
Yeah, so much momentum going into the playoffs, and now he's going to be heading back to Ruoff Mortgage Victory Lane. It's becoming a familiar sight. The 12 car making it back in there, this time at one of the most famous racetracks in the world, Daytona International Speedway. A big win for Ryan Blaney. Again, make sure to join us on NBCSN for the NASCAR America post-race show. Coming up next will be your local news, except on the West Coast. Ryan Blaney is going to continue to celebrate with the fans. We'll be back to wrap up. What a wild finish, a wild race and a wild finish from Daytona International Speedway. It's Ryan Blaney who outlasts the rest. Attrition on that last lap, collecting over half the field. Kevin Harvick involved, still winless in 2021, but he's a part of the playoffs. 3 wins on the season, and now a win at Daytona for Blaney. Fireworks over this 2.5-mile super speedway, celebrating what Ryan Blaney just accomplished, winning here at the historic racetrack. As we show you now the unofficial playoff standings. Kyle Larson, it looks as though he will be the regular season champion. And all the way down to Kevin Harvick. The one that did make it in was Tyler Reddick. Again, it's unofficial, but on points, Tyler Reddick ended up ahead of teammate Austin Dillon, and so he will be a part of the 16 drivers fighting for a championship.
Yeah, it was clear Blaney was out front when the caution came out, but so many cars involved. Who was involved? NASCAR's going to have to kind of peel that onion back and figure out who was where. But so these are the unofficial standings, and it's either way, though. I mean, Kyle Larson has had such a great year, will carry that momentum, and Blaney 2 in a row at the right time.
Yeah, you see him celebrating and chatting once again in victory lane. A reminder, NASCAR America post-race show will be coming up next on NBCSN. We saw incredible racing today. There were saves, and then there were things that just nobody could have held on to, and it happened on the last lap. Drivers' dreams dashed as they were hoping to make it into the playoffs, and so close for some. Chris Buescher second in this race. If he gets the win, he's in the playoffs, but now he'll have to watch the playoffs and think about what might have happened. Ryan Blaney, though, momentum. He wins at Daytona. The smoke in the air from the fireworks for Ryan Blaney's win. That victory gives him 3 wins already in the 2021 season. First time he has had multiple wins in a season, and definitely carrying momentum as he heads into next week, which will be the first race of the playoffs. It's Darlington, that old racetrack that is so difficult on tires, but maybe the momentum and, of course, the bonus points that Ryan Blaney is able to take into the playoffs. From winning a race, you get 5 playoff points from that. He's won 3 races.